Welcome back, my fellow humans, and if you're new here, thanks so much for joining us. We're all here sharing this human experience together. So I'm going to do a tandem reading to the last reading, and that was how do people see you? And that's because while I was doing that message, this came up, and I'm just really excited to be able to do this because it was so strong how it was coming through with the an animal spirit message. Okay, so this is from an animal spirit guide or an animal spirit that you really connect with, or from your spirit guides in general. We're going to definitely tap into that today, okay? So let's start with our prayer. And please know that I do things differently on my channel, so if the messages do resonate, it would mean the world to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. And there may be triggering statements that arise on the readings themselves. There's no obligation to force it to fit, while keeping in mind that triggers can be a beautiful blueprint for us to deepen our healing journey. And please know that your time, your presence, and your energy is a true blessing, and I'm deeply honored to be here sharing it with you today. My beloved source, this prayer is for any and all who come on to this reading, whether it's for the entire time or for a moment's time. Today I ask that you help guide us to our inner knowing, to help us open up our hearts to receive the messages that are going to help us move forward on our journey. You know, right now I definitely feel this very heavy energy across the collective where we've tried so hard to get to a certain point that we think is going to validate our journey, validate our choices, validate why we decided to go on this spiritual journey. And along this path, it has been fraught with peril, with hardships, and with the unknown. And it feels like we're not any closer to our goal than when we first started. But maybe it's not about that. Maybe it's not about reaching some unidentified goal or some identified goal. Maybe this journey is just truly about embracing each and every moment as it comes. Recognizing that the version of us today is vastly different than the version of us yesterday and last year and maybe even decades ago. That we've learned so much. That we've gained tons of wisdom and experience. And that our story holds weight and value because it's what we've gone through. It's not who we are, but it has contributed to the choices we've made, which do mold who we become. So today I ask that we let go of the attachment to the end results and open up to the possibility and opportunities that are available to us in this here now, now here moment. And made me recognize the beauty of how far we've come, what we've overcome, what we've challenged, and what we've changed. And let us see our beauty, our strength, our wisdom. And know that right now in this moment, we are exactly where we need to be, and we are enough. We need not change anything. As these words are spoken upon this tribe and onto this reading today, so shall they be. Amen. Aho. Aseh. Thank you, thank you, thank you, my beloved source. Thank you. So let me get this set up over here if I can get it on there. I have a hanging incense carrier, and sometimes it likes to move around a lot. So today we are using, of course, I've got a ton of my animal decks out. And we're going to be looking into this, but we're going to be getting one card from the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit Oracle by Kim Kranz. All of her decks are phenomenal. I definitely highly recommend. They have such a beautiful energy to them. All right, so let's get this going. Your message from your spirit guides. I'm just going to say spirit guides, but please know that I'm also including like your guardian angels, your ancestors, your animal spirit guides, your animal totems, whatever, okay? So, message from your spirit guides. What oracle card is going to help us better understand this message today? Message from your spirit guides. Okay, thank you. Message from your spirit guides. Pile number 1, message from your spirit guides. What animal oracle card will help us better understand the message for pile number 1? Thank you. All right, pile number 2, message from your spirit guide. What animal oracle card will help us better understand the message for pile 2? Thank you. And pile number 3, message from your spirit guides. What animal oracle card will help us better understand this message today? Thank you. These came out so fast. Yeah, so that's telling me that they definitely are ready to talk. And also equally so, I do feel like that you're ready to hear what they have to say. Okay, so before we get to the bottom of the deck, I was feeling this energy of rising from the ashes, if I can talk today. Rising from the ashes. There's something very difficult that you have just emerged from. You're on the other side, or you're about to reach a breakthrough onto the other side of this difficult situation. And it feels like in the moment, this was probably the hardest thing that you've gone through, right? But what I'm seeing is that it just feels so hard because you're in the thick of it, and that's why it feels exacerbated. But honestly, this is not as hard as some other things that you've gone through. It's just that the emotions are truly heightened right now because either you're tapping into a very deep emotional wound that is ready to be faced and to be surrendered to the divine, or it's just coming to terms with a part of yourself that you had denied for a really long time, and your perspective is altering. And anytime we go through an altering of our perspective, it can really challenge our foundation, and it can definitely challenge our resolve, because we're seeing cracks, right? We're seeing cracks in what we thought we were building a very strong and sturdy foundation. And it's not that we're not. What happens is that pieces of the old foundation may have been still in there, or we molded that strong foundation around those weaker foundations. And now, because of how strong the foundation, our spiritual foundation, our mental foundation, our emotional foundation has become, it's naturally pushing those faulty foundations to the surface to be faced, because we're ready to see them. And so I do see this energy of rising from the ashes like a phoenix, of overcoming something where something has been burned away, and truly embracing a much deeper perspective and a much deeper well of love that is overflowing within. And so even though right now it feels like this is maybe one of the most challenging things that you've experienced in life, there's this huge reward on the other side of being free from a traumatic experience, or being free from the emotions surrounding a traumatic experience, or even being free from a trigger that has wormed its way into so many different aspects of your life. And your approach to people, circumstances, situations, relationships, career, job, money, like all of these things are altering because of this ability to face this. It feels like an energetic block in this moment. Okay, so let's take a look at the bottom of the deck. Let's see what we've got here. The spider, creativity at its finest. So there's a lot of creative energy that's finding you now. And I feel like that's something that's really powerful when we're healing. We'll reach periods. And I want to talk about this really quickly, because I feel like nobody talks about this in the spiritual community. Everybody's just like, stay positive, get to the positive side of things. But the spiritual journey has as many ups and downs as anybody's journey. And if we don't let others know about the downs that come, like sometimes when you're like, oh, everybody just says to stay positive no matter what, it'll work out. And positivity is a powerful thing. But also, we need to face reality as it's coming to with a sound mind, right? We can't always come from this fantastical mindset, which is very powerful indeed for the manifestation journey. However, if you're going through a down moment and you're saying, well, I'm just trying to stay positive, I'm just trying to stay positive, if I can just smile my way through this, right? And it's not something that you can smile, right? That could be grief, it could be loss, it could be enduring a difficult situation, it could be overcoming trauma, it could be releasing shadow or embracing and integrating shadow. These are very difficult things. And so excuse me, when there's a moment of what feels like regression or slipping back into an old way of being or feeling depression even, we tend to beat ourselves up and like, oh my gosh, like I just wasn't positive enough, or I just wasn't spiritual enough, or I just wasn't, we say we weren't enough of whatever it was, and that's not true. These are natural occurrences on the journey. So please give yourself space to experience them as they come and to accept it as it is, right? Especially because so many people are fearful of spiders. Like they scream and they run like, oh my gosh, it's a spider. Arachnophobia is a real thing, right? Not everybody can be kind to them. They have to get rid of them because of that fear that comes up, right? It can be rational, it can be an irrational fear. It's just the fear is there. But if you were to face that, like here's a challenge for someone who's an arachnophobic, right? It's just a challenge. You don't have to do it if you choose not to, but it's just a challenge. But if you hear what I'm saying, you're going to understand what I'm saying about your life. The moment a spider comes, instead of running and being afraid, can you get a plastic cup and a piece of cardboard and capture it and take it outside? Do something different than what you normally would do, right? And I know, I can feel the panic already because there's some people you're like, I absolutely cannot do that. And you know what? Trying, if you at least try, that's something, right? You're facing the fear. But so many of us don't want to face that fear of not being enough. We don't want to face that fear. We let it, we try to run from it, and it turns into this massive boulder in our journey. This massive thing that we just absolutely, when it shows up, if I run the opposite direction, I'll be okay. Right? And I love that Spider came out for this because it's just this reminder that we create our reality. So we have the choice. We can run from fear. Absolutely. We can run scared, and that's perfectly fine. Or we can choose to be courageous in the face of fear. Right? The brave are not without fear. And I think that's this misconcept, like, oh, well, you've had more time to face your fears than I have, or, you've had more opportunities to face those fears. And that's not true. It's just when someone chooses to face their fears, they choose to grit their teeth and say, I'm going to do it scared anyways. And that's what it feels like. So there's something here where you're feeling like you're failing, and that's a fear, right? That's a fear that's arising. Or you're feeling like you should just give up, and that's a fear too, because if I give up, what was the point of putting in all of this effort? Or you have this fear that it's not going to happen for you. And these are all very valid fears, okay? We're not here to invalidate those by any means. These are all incredibly valid fears. But also remembering that those fears can be drivers to push us to a new level. We can use the rage, we can use the fear, we can use the anxiety, we can use the depression as fuel for us to move ahead. And how do we do that? Most of the time, it's not as extravagant as you might think. It really is truly just facing it and being with it as it arises. Putting it on the table, saying, you know what? Here, I'll use one of this as my example, right? This is fear. All right, I see you. I'm going to look at you, and I'm going to leave you right there. I'm not going to touch you. I'm not going to react to you. I'm not going to grab you and toss you across the room. I'm not going to grab you and hold you tight and say, this is the only way my life can be. I'm going to look at you. I see you. And seeing you, it kind of takes out the power that it has over you. right? You're able to put it there, observe it for what it is, and not go back to those old reactions that you might have. Like, I'm going to throw a shoe at it, or I'm going to smash it with the biggest book I can find, or I'm going to run away from it and scream and yell for help, or, you know, whatever it is that it has elicited in you in the past as a reaction. Instead of reacting, we're going to respond. Response is just saying, I leave you here in my line of sight. I'm aware that you're there, but I'm not going to pick it up. I'm not going to let it control me. I'm going to recognize that it's there. This is easier said than done, right? And of course, I can give you 100 different ways to do this. But if you don't take the first step for yourself, it's going to continue to arise. And how do you take that first step for yourself? Is by choosing a different reaction or choosing a different response. Reaction in the face of fear versus response in the face of the fear. They will get you to two different end results. Most of us are just so driven by the fear itself. As soon as this shows up, that automated response is coming out. And that's why I was saying earlier, I'm getting the phoenix energy of rising above the ashes and burning away something. Whatever you're burning away is attached to this image, right? Whether it's a fear of whatever is being burned away so that you can finally see it for what it is. It's not really anything that needs a lot of reaction. It's not anything that needs even a lot of attention. But not giving it your attention or giving it your attention doesn't make you any less of a person, right? This is just something that's been programmed into us for a really long time. And it's had its run and its fill of its run in our lives for an incredibly long time. And so there are going to be days when you're like, great, I have become aware of it. And there are going to be days when you got to do whatever you got to do with it. The thing is, though, is that it's the fact that it's coming into awareness, and that gives you a chance to make a choice for yourself. What do you choose? And that's going to depend on the person, and it's going to depend on the situation. So a spider here, it's just this reminder that we create our reality. We create the life that we want to live. And spiders are great for seeing that as well, because their web is literally their food, right? Like, that's how they capture food. That's how they stay alive. And think about if a rainstorm comes, or if a windstorm comes, or even if a dog tears through a web because they're running and playing and they just happen to run between the two trees, that the spider happened to build this web, or we do. We have a tendency to run into their webs too. Or, you know, kids playing with a stick, they see the web, they poke it on the stick, they destroy it. The spider's not going to sit there and be like, oh, I can't believe that happened. Like, how could you do that to me? The spider's going to be like, okay, cool. I'm just going to try again. That's it. I'm going to try again and again and again and again. A spider's not wondering when its next meal is going to come. It sits and waits patiently. And so our manifestations, we're so poised on the edge of our seats waiting for it to come. And what's really truly happening is that we're being asked to be patient, keep showing up and being diligent with the work again and again and again and again. Don't worry about the attachment to the end result. Eventually the food will come. Eventually the manifestation will come. It's there. It's already in our awareness. It's already in our field of energy. But because we're holding on to it so tightly, including the fear, including this feeling of not being enough, whatever emotions are attached to it, we're not giving space for it to actually manifest into our lives, because we're squeezing it out the other side with these fears, these worries, it's not coming fast enough, it's not happening in the time that I thought that it should. Be like the spider and be patient. Build it again and again and again. If you build it, they will come. I know that it's actually he will come, but I remember growing up with it being they will come. And so, you know, one of those, what is that, the Mandela effect? I was one of those. Yep, that's what happened. Like the Berenstein Bears. I guess it's the Berenstein Bears and not the Berenstein Bears. I grew up with the Berenstein Bears, and so everyone's like, it's the Berenstein Bears, and I don't remember there ever being an additional N in there, so that's cool. It's the Berenstein Bears, okay. So we get caught up in things that are less than ideal. It's going to happen. Life is going to happen. Do you think the spider was waiting for the kids to come and poke its web with a stick? Or do you think the spider was waiting, worried that the dog was going to run through while it was playing out in the field? Do you think the spider was waiting, worried about the storm that hit? No, it just, you know, Charlotte's web is perfect for that. When the web was ruined, she took it down and she built another great web. That's all she did. It was never about the next thing, and she did it until the day that she passed away. Like, that's the thing. That's what our journey is. It's continuing to do it until we leave this realm. There really is no end result for us. And can we embrace that and embody that? Wow, what a powerful message to come through on this reading. All right, let's read this from the book and see what the spider says. Creator of prosperity through life's work. Exactly, it's life's work. It's your whole life. Dharma. The spider is an ingenious creator. Its greatest gift is weaving the thread of Dharma into a vast, intricate web that supports the spider and those around it, both financially and spiritually. It is hard work. But the spider neither tires nor becomes impatient. This card reminds us creativity is everywhere. Be process-oriented rather than results-oriented, and soon your work becomes like weaving of a magical, priceless tapestry. Abundance follows. When in balance, you're appreciative, enthusiastic, and prosperous. When out of balance, you're discouraged, tired, and forlorn. To bring back into balance, find some playful creativity. Yeah, so that's that energy that I was feeling, like the fear, being discouraged, being tired, being forlorn, feeling like nothing's going to work out for you. That's not true at all. Things are working out for you. It's just about letting go of the results and allowing whatever's going to come. We have no control over that, right? It's interesting that Rabbit wants to be seen here. Because you think about rabbits, it's all about speed, right? Like running away fast, and, you know, they have babies really fast. Like everything is very fast, but it's also cyclical. And so this is something too, like what we were saying, like it's the nature of life for those fears to cycle back around, for us to face them again. It's not a punishment. The reason they come back around is so that each time the trigger becomes less, and eventually, no matter how many cycles that comes back into our lives, eventually we've already let go of the trigger. So whenever that comes back up, we're aware of it, right? We put it on the table and we're aware of it. We have no reaction to it. We're responding to it as it arises. That's why the triggers are there. It's teaching us patience. It's teaching us diligence, and it's teaching us hard work. Okay, so let's get this set up. Okay, so pile one, we do have this dice with the 7th house on it for you to choose from. We have this carnelian gemstone for the sacral chakra with the seed sound VOM on it. Pile two, we have this dice with the 9th house on it for you to choose from. We have this yellow jasper gemstone with the solar plexus chakra seed sound ROM on it. Okay, pile three, we have this dice with the 12th house on it. Or we have this heart chakra jade gemstone with the seed sound yum on it. So we pile 1, pile 2, and pile 3. And whichever pile you feel called to, that should be the one for you. And I will see you over there. Welcome back, my fellow humans. If you had chosen this dice with the 7th house on it, or perhaps you felt called to this carnelian gemstone with the sacral chakra seed sound Vam on it, or perhaps you felt called to this card during the shuffle, this is going to be your message from your spirit guides. If you didn't catch the intro, I mentioned that this is going to be more of your animal spirit guide focus, but this could be from your ancestors, from your spirit guides, from your guardian angels, your higher self, source, spirit, God, whatever it is that you feel that it's from. But this was also a tandem reading to how people see you, because the message for this reading actually came out during that reading. So if you haven't caught that reading, I posted it right before this one. You can definitely go and check that out. But we're going to go ahead and get into it today. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. If you're new here, thanks so much for joining us. The messages resonate with you along the way. It would deeply mean the world to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe. And please know that your time, your energy, and your presence mean the world to me. And yeah, let's go ahead and get in there. I'm going to get there. It's been a weird day. But if you guys didn't catch the collective message at the beginning, it had some really deep messages in there. You might resonate with it. Pile 1 usually has messages that go back to that. So I'm just going to quickly mention that here. All right, messages from your spirit guide, pile 1. Messages from your spirit guide, pile number 1. All right, we've got the 6th house, Virgo energy, and Pluto. Yeah, so a lot of transformation here, pile 1. You guys are telling you something shifting for you. It could have to do with your career, with work, especially if you've been dealing with some issues directly relating to your coworkers. This could also be if you have an animal that's been having health issues, or if you yourself have been having health issues. You've been patient waiting for results here, and the results are going to come. There is going to be a transformation here. There's a transition, okay? So I'm not going to promise anybody that everything's going to be a-okay, like it's happening and it's going to be perfectly the way that you want it, but there is a transition. And with that transition, there is going to come growth and a settling. There's something that's settling here. Feels like anxiety, it feels like uncertainty, it feels like that feeling of the unknown, where you're going to grow comfortable in the unknown, and that's happening for you. But also recognizing that maybe this is just a part of life, right? Instead of being like, what did I do wrong? You know, Virgos have a tendency for perfection, and being a perfectionist can really play havoc on our mindsets. It can really play havoc on our body as well. It can play havoc on how we see ourselves. And I feel like it's not just Virgos, like everybody has probably gone through the phase of perfectionist in their life, and it has never ended well, because there's always these high expectations. And even if you put out something that is pretty phenomenal, it's not enough, right? Like there could always be some tweaking that's done. There could always be something more that's done to it. And so I feel like you are moving away from this feeling of having to carry that burden of perfectionism, or, you know, having to carry some burden of being something more to someone else who may be sick, to an animal that may be sick, or, you know, to coworkers, or taking care of somebody here. I feel like this is health related. It does feel health related to me specifically, but it could be having to do with any of those topics and any way that you might be carrying a burden. The example they're showing me is that if you haven't been with me for any amount of time, when I first started this channel, I had a 15-year-old blue healer. I mentioned her not that long ago, and she's definitely come to visit me. She's been very, very clearly coming to visit me because her death day is coming in a few days, actually, and that's why her energy is really strong. But not a lot of people know exactly what I experienced with her, and she went through cancer, and I had it in my mind that I was somehow bigger than her illness, and I did everything in my power to ensure that she was going to be healthy. Like, I totally changed her diet, went from eating kibble to she had the best food of her life for the last months of her life. She was eating chicken, she was eating turkey, she was eating beef, she was eating all these things. We did a raw diet for her. She had bones. I mean, she had it all, and I don't regret a minute of it. But I remember at that time feeling like if I can just get on the edge of this, then I'll be able to heal her, and I'll be able to prove that I'm stronger than this illness. And there was something inside of me that resided around that belief. And then when I finally had to say goodbye, it was like I had failed, and not realizing that it was just a part of life. And a part of me felt so defeated when I had to say goodbye. And it still hurts to this day. She's my best friend. And, you know, I just wasn't prepared. And that's the thing. It's like there's nothing that prepares us for that. But sometimes, you know, like if I could go back and tell that younger version of myself that it's okay to let go, I think that I would have been much stronger in saying goodbye, and I wouldn't have tried to push it away. And when I put her down, I just pushed away all those feelings. I just tried to busy myself with so much stuff, and I wasn't feeling what I was feeling because it was so scary and what I was feeling. And sometimes we think that, you know, like we're bigger than that. And it wasn't just me. Like, I'm not the only person who's felt that way. You know, I've talked to family members, and when my mom passed away from cancer, the same thing too, you know. I had family members who were telling me, like, it's my fault. It's my fault that she's gone. It's my fault that she died. It's like, we're not bigger than the illness, but it's a very common thing for us to believe that we're bigger than sickness, or if we don't think about it, we'll somehow relinquish it, or we'll somehow overcome it, or if we don't take care of it, then out of sight, out of mind, it won't affect us in that way. And that's the type of energy that's coming in here, is that there's something here that a part of you has maybe subconsciously or even consciously has been acting or feeling like, I'm bigger than this, and I'll find the cure, or I'll find a way through it, or I'll find a way to overcome this. And there's something here that your spirit guides want you to know, that the transition is a part of life. And whatever this transition is, whether it's something that's ending, something that's beginning, or something that is shifting, this transition is something that you can embrace. And whatever emotions arise with it, please give yourself space to experience that in the moment, instead of trying to push it aside, believing that I'm bigger than this. Like, I don't have to go through this like everyone else. Like, I'm going to be the one to solve this weird puzzle that we don't understand, right? And there's no solution. At least not yet. And it's not that you can't solve it. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is that what you're carrying is a burden of feeling that is beginning to weigh you down and make you feel unworthy of good things in your life. And overcoming that takes a long time. Like, I still am healing from that thought process with my other dog. And and especially with you choosing the sacral chakra gemstone, right? This is my right to feel. This is the motto of the sacral chakra. This is my right to feel. Okay, and having those emotions can be so large, and being so large they can feel like they're going to swallow us up, and feeling them is like the worst possible thing that we could ask ourselves, because our ego is saying, no, I cannot give in to the feeling, I cannot give in to the emotion, I cannot let reality be real. I have to find some way above reality, or I have to find some way outside of reality. But the truth is that there are just certain things that happen in our lives that we have to face the reality. We have to face it. And it's not because we can't create beautiful memories, or it's not because we can't create something that's beautiful within that situation. It's just that sometimes there are things that are going to be outside of our control, and part of that is to remind us that we truly only have control over one thing, and that's ourselves. We are not bigger than Source's plans. We are not bigger than death. We are not bigger than life, even. We are here for a very finite amount of time, and health issues are going to happen for some people, and while that is a disruption within our soul manifested, sometimes we don't have the control to heal that perfectly or fully. It's something we're going to have to deal with. I myself, I broke my back in 2015. It's a wild story. I was unable to walk for months. I went to a chiropractor. I healed naturally. I chose not to get the surgery. I healed naturally, which actually took a lot longer than getting surgery. But surgery was also a quick heal, a quick fix, but also would limit my movement. And so I have full movement of my spine because I chose to heal naturally. But also, every once in a while, I still have arthritis in my lower back. It still flares up. There are days I cannot move out of bed because it hurts so bad. It's something that I've just come to accept. It's a part of the journey. There are going to be really great days, and there are going to be not so good days. But a part of me was like, what did I do wrong? Like, why am I dealing with this today? You know, when it would flare up, why do I have to face this today? You know, like, what did I do wrong yesterday? Or what did I do wrong this month? Or what did I do wrong this year? And it's nothing that we've done wrong. Okay, that's the thing. And I feel like looking at it as though it's punishment has created a situation where you're not able to feel what is truly happened. It's like easier to see it as though I'm being punished for something, which is actually a much deeper issue than what you're facing in this moment. Feeling like it's punishment for something shows that as a child, you were punished for everything. You were punished for speaking too loudly. You were punished for setting boundaries. You were punished for not having good grades or getting good grades and still not going for extra credit. You were compared to somebody, a sibling, a cousin, or a person on TV, or a person in the friends or whatever, right? There's these things where it's like constantly receiving punishment. Your life is not punishment for you being you. Your life is your life, and life is going to keep happening, and there's no control over what comes and goes. There's only control over how you choose to show up as those moments arise in your life. All right, message from your spirit guides. It's not easy going through something like this, and I can appreciate that fully. But there's no reason to beat yourself up when you're already experiencing a transition from something that's incredibly challenging, right? It could be a divorce. This could be a relationship that's ending. This could be a very difficult thing that you overcame as a child, some sort of abuse, mental, emotional, physical, sexual. These are things that are coming through. We're not going to focus too much on the abuses themselves, but that's what's coming in. And again, it does feel health. And remember, any type of stress that you've had on your body for a long time is naturally going to manifest in some type of health issue within your physical body, because your body's been in survival mode for so long. Your parasympathetic nervous system hasn't been given the okay to rest, relax, and digest. And I would recommend, this is just a personal recommendation that's helped me myself, checking out yin yoga or yoga nidra. Okay, like those are two practices that you could easily integrate into your life that would help get you into that place of safety within the parasympathetic nervous system, and saying it's okay to slow down. It's okay to rest. It is okay to take up space. What is the message from your spirit guides? Okay. What is the message from your spirit guides? Pile 1. Message from your spirit guides. Whoa, my goodness. Okay, so the deck just totally exploded. This card flew over there, up face, so we'll take that. I'm going to put these back. We don't need them. Like, the deck just literally exploded. I feel like I want to get one more. What is the message from your spirit guides? Pile number 1. Okay, so they wanted 2 more. I wasn't going to do a 5-card draw, but I guess that's what we got. I won't have enough to show the bottom of the deck, but I will show you what's on the bottom of the deck, okay? I'll just put it out here too, so it'll be partially in frame. My cards are huge. We've got the Empress on the bottom. Embracing the inner divine feminine, which is the receptive place, right? That's a very soft and beautiful receiving energy where we're ready to trust and have faith that the work that we've done is going to get us where we want to go, and knowing that while it might not be exactly what we had pictured or imagined, that that's okay. We are facing ourselves and the hardships that we've been through. We're facing ourselves and the hardening of our heart that we've gone through, and letting ourselves relax into this place of peace and comfort. And this is what your spirit guides really want you to know, is that it's okay for you to step into this energy of receptivity. You don't have to keep forcing your way through any longer. It's okay for you to slow down. It's okay for you to relax. It's okay for you to rest. It's okay for you to find space out in nature. Sit in front of a fire, roast some s'mores and marshmallows if you need to, right? Get out and sit in the trees, put your feet in the water, put your feet on the grass, watch the clouds go by. You know, these simple things that can help you reconnect with your inner child, but also with the inner feminine energy that's asking to be embraced right now. Okay, so this is a very powerful energy. So the transition here is getting you from a very toxic pattern that has overrun your life for a long time into a more receptive place, which is trust. And trust can be really hard, especially for those of us that have experienced very faulty foundations during childhood, because we don't know who to trust. Our caregivers were the people that we placed our trust in, and they left us with gaping emotional traumatic wounds. And so it's like, well, who do we trust now? And so the key is to trust yourself and to trust the divine. All right, so with this spread here, we see there's been a lot of negativity that's come up recently with the 2 of Cups, broken-hearted energy, one-sided love, giving your all to a situation and not receiving anything in return. I'm actually incredibly grateful that the 9 of Swords is at the very center of your reading, because we see here what you've learned from this situation has truly been able to pick up on red flags. And when those red flags arise, whether that's in friendship, in dealing with your coworkers, in dealing with people around you, in dealing with even yourself, whenever those red flags arise and you notice that, trusting your intuition, trusting your discernment, this is where the shift will happen. And this is also where you will begin to carve out that fear that has left you, in some cases, completely catatonic from moving in your own journey, feeling like it's not worth your time, it's not worth your effort, it's not worth what you're doing, it's not worth what you have to do each and every day, right? It's not enough, but it is. Everything that you're doing has been enough. Now, the Nameless card, or what you might know as Death, right? This is such a unique card because not only does it depict, the reason it's the Nameless card is because in the old Italian decks, they talk about how, or the French decks, depends on where you see it from, but they talk about how it was too frightening to give it a name. So they left it simply Nameless as a 13 card. The fright that also comes from that is seeing how it affects us bodily. Our physical body. It's connected with Scorpio energy, which talks about rebirth after death, right? So we're going through an egoic death. We're going through even spiritual death, right? To grow spiritually, to enter the gates of heaven, if you will, it requires a sort of spiritual death. And that's what's happening here. But we see that you have to turn your back on holding on to these things in your mind's eye, or holding on to these things even in your heart, or letting them replay over and over again. I think about it over and over again. I replay it over and over again because it's all in my head. It's all in the head, right? It's not that it's not real. It is real. And these are very real things that have happened to you, very negative, real things that have happened to you that have broken your heart. There's something here I can't let go of, right? Or there's something here that feels very negative. Even if it's not, it feels like it needs to have some kind of negative connotation attached to it in order to justify why it's happening to you. So if this is like an illness, or if you're dealing with a sick animal, or if you're dealing with a sick loved one even, right? It's like I have to attach some sort of negative connotation to this in order to justify why I'm going through it. So it's in a way, that is self-degradation, okay? Even if you're not seeing it that way at the time, it's still putting a lot of pressure on yourself to figure out some solution to something that may not have a solution, right? My dog had cancer. There was no solution. There was no getting rid of the tumor. She was too old to operate on. They told me that her survival for the surgery was less than 1%. Okay, my mom had a brain tumor. She had surgery twice, and the tumor still came back even after an experimental round of medicine and 2 rounds of chemo and radiation. Her body wasn't capable of fighting it off. Sometimes it's not up to us. Even if we want it to be, it's still not up to us. But feeling like we have to carry that burden, which I also am familiar with, Pile, and I get it. And I know why it feels like that. It's because we have it in our heads that we're responsible for everything that's happening in our lives. And while the spiritual journey does ask us to take responsibility for our lives, what we're taking responsibility for is our ability to create henceforward. And our ability to take full accountability for ourselves. That's not us taking accountability for everybody else and everything that's happening to everybody else. If it has to do with your own personal health, then it's asking you to take accountability for your health. What can you do to ensure ease for your health? For me, with my back, I practice yoga because yoga helps me stay in alignment. Even if I practice yoga every day, there are going to be days when I can't get out of bed to practice yoga, but I still try to practice in my bed to help ease the pain, right? Even when I can't get on the floor, what can I do in this moment when this pain is so unbearable, where I literally can't move? Tears are streaming down my face and I want to cry and I want to scream and I just want to throw it all in. What can I do? I do my stretches in bed. I do the best that I can. And I grit my teeth and I bear it because I'm the only one that can show up for that, right? If somebody's sick, what can you do? You can only do what you can do. You can't make this person take their medicine. You can't make them choose health. You can't make them change who they are. But you can show up in love. You can show up in kindness. If this is a broken heart, what can you do? You can tend to yourself. You can take care of yourself. You can love and admire and cherish yourself. And remember that you are worthy of love. This is talking about your spirit guides saying you're taking on some sort of responsibility that is also creating even more fear for the future than is it's not necessary, right? It's unnecessary fear that is coming out from a very negative situation, which is why I got that feeling in the beginning. Sometimes we just have to face reality. To live life, we're going to go through negative times. No matter how positive we are, no matter how much we heal, no matter how much we spiritually grow, there are going to be incredibly difficult times that we have to endure. But what our growth and our positivity and our healing gives us are tools to face those moments as they arise. It's not a guarantee to make sure that we're completely uplifted as we're going through them. Do you think that I was uplifted when I was going through my mom, watching her waste away in front of my eyes? No. What about my dog? When I was watching her waste away in front of my eyes. On the good days she had, I felt like I was winning, and then she would crash the next day. And I was like, why can't she just be good? I'm doing all the right things. No, I wasn't positive. I did my best to put on a positive face. But there are days when I just sat and I just couldn't handle what was going on. Right? The same with my mom. There are days when I just couldn't handle what was going on. It was absolutely unhinged from life at some points. And that's when I very first started my journey. My mom got sick at the very beginning of my spiritual journey. And it was really hard. It was really hard. But the thing is that it showed me that we don't know what's promised, because nothing is truly promised to us. And that's why being grateful is the #1 most powerful place that we can come to, because it's reminding us that every day is a blessing. To have breath in our lungs is a blessing. To have the ability to move around, to talk, to see, to hear, to walk, whatever our abilities and capabilities are in this moment. And even if it's not any of those things, to know that you have life, that's a blessing, right? And that's what your spirit guides want to remind you, is to focus on the blessings. Don't focus on trying to be some superhero, come in and take the responsibility of everyone else and everything else. You're only one person. And yes, you're a powerful being at that. But you are not responsible for everyone else's healing. And there's something here that you're carrying, feeling like I did myself a disservice because I didn't do everything that I could. But I bet if you stepped away from being emotionally involved in the situation itself, like if you saw your best friend do everything that you did for somebody that was in their life, or an animal that was in their life, or coworkers that were in their life, I bet if you stepped away and saw it from that aspect, you'd be like, you've done enough. Focus on yourself. Focus on taking care of yourself now. Right? Don't be afraid to receive. I love that underneath this is the Page of Swords, because the Page of Swords has difficulty facing reality. That is one of the very first meanings of the Page of Swords for the Tarot Marseille, is difficulty in facing reality. Whether he's in the upright or the reverse, it's just something that the Page of Swords, it's like the Page of Swords will talk himself out of everything. Right? He's a very, very unique character, and it's hard because it's easy to convince ourselves that it's our responsibility when it's not. Message from your spirit guides. It's a very powerful message. Yeah, staying grounded is really important right now. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, persistence, patience, and practicality. It is okay to have a practical, logical, realistic mindset on the spiritual journey. And so much of the time I feel like we're pushing to have this fantastical mindset, and oh my gosh, you can't show up in life with practicality. But you know what? If we don't, we miss a lot of moments for healing. We miss a lot of moments for presence. We miss a lot of moments for even making memories that are very important. It's okay to be practical. It's okay to be logical. That doesn't make you a bad person. And it doesn't make you less spiritual either. Right? This is a very realistic realm, and showing up with that recognition helps us to, as I said in the collective reading, to table it so that we can be aware of what's going on around us. Archangel Zadkiel, compassion, freedom, and forgiveness. Now, this is interesting. I have a really, really strong bond with Archangel Zadkiel. I really do. He's actually the one that helped me leave from my long-term narcissistic relationship. He's the one that gave me the strength and the courage to say enough is enough. And with him coming out, I feel like he can definitely help you have the courage. You know, see, these guys are walking away from us. There's something here you need to walk away from. And I feel like it's walking away from carrying something that you're not meant to carry. It's just dragging you down. It's creating an anchor in your life, and it's creating a lot of upset in your life as well. And so it's okay. Compassion sometimes means that we have to extend that compassion to ourselves first. It's great to have compassion for others, pile one. It's amazing to have that compassion for others. But if we're not extending that to ourselves, then the compassion that we're giving others is only so deep, right? And the freedom comes when you add forgiveness. Forgiveness isn't saying that what these people did was right, or what the situation was right. Actually, and this is something that I recently have learned on my own journey, that forgiveness is actually quite selfish of us, because it says that I'm doing this for myself. I'm forgiving for myself, not because of you, not because of what you did was right or wrong. I'm forgiving you and the situation because I'm ready to let go, and I'm ready to surrender, and I'm ready to untie these chains and these shackles that have kept me in a prison for so long, right? That have made me replay this over and over again in my head. And if we look at forgiveness that way, then maybe it's a little bit more approachable, instead of feeling like, no, I could never forgive them for that. You know what? Maybe what they did was unforgivable, but you deserve to be a little selfish right now and free yourself from the situation, don't you? So maybe looking at it that way will give you a whole new outlook on being able to just approach it. Maybe poke it with a stick, right? Well, at least let me poke it and see what it feels like, right? Try it. It's just seeing it differently. And you can absolutely call on Archangel Zadkiel to be there with you and to help you with that forgiveness. Falcon, Peregrine Falcon, act on the opportunity that's before you and commit to it without equivocation. So don't look back. Whatever's standing in front of you, don't look back. Do what you need to do. And don't question what it is that it's bringing to you, or what it's going to change for you. Just act on the opportunity. There's something that's shifting, right? Again, there's a transition, and there's a potential huge opportunity for you. And it doesn't mean that that opportunity is going to bring blessings overnight, but I do feel like it is going to bring freedom. Freedom to see things from a much higher perspective, but also freedom to see things incredibly clearly for yourself. Okay? Okay, you're getting 2 of these. The energy is gaining momentum. So again, that shift, right? We're feeling that shift, the gaining momentum. Eventually you're going to hit the ceiling. I call it breaking through the ceiling, right? Like we hit the ceiling, and breaking through is really uncomfortable through our spiritual ceilings, wherever we've hit the top of our ceiling, right? The box that we're in. We hit the top, and it's really uncomfortable. We bump our heads. We're like, oh, that hurt. Oh, that hurt. I don't want to do this anymore. But we know we have to push through, right? It's rebirth. Thinking about birthing a child, right? That's a very difficult thing to do. It's uncomfortable. It's painful. It's overwhelming in some cases. But we're able to do it as women, especially, right? Like women bring these lives into this world, and it's incredible. It's this incredible experience, but the same thing spiritually. It's not that we go through necessarily the physical pain, but the emotional and the spiritual and the mental pain that we experience is very uncomfortable. It's very easy for us to run away from. But as you're gaining momentum, like, there's no stopping it. You're gonna push through to the other side. So see what's there. Let yourself experience that. Message from your spirit guides. Yeah, co-create with spirit. So source is definitely helping you through this time. You are not alone. You're definitely surrounded by an incredibly powerful spiritual team, whether this is your spirit guides, your angels, whatever it is that you believe is helping you along the journey, spirit, source, you know, whatever it is that you call it. It doesn't matter, but definitely you are not alone. You have a very, very, very hardworking team, and they're trying to help carry some of the burden. They can't take it from you, right? Like, you have to be able to surrender that to them. You have to be willing to surrender that to them. So the choice is yours. And there's no right or wrong. If you choose to hold on to it, you know, let yourself go through that experience too. There's something to learn there. We have monk and nun. Selfless devotion and single-minded dedication to spirit. And then the shadow is negative judgment of the physical world and excess piety. Right? So we do see this judgment of the physical world. Like, why is this something I have to go through? But also just remembering, coming back to that devotion with spirit, coming back to that devotion with source. Like, remembering that this connection is always going to be there for you. You're not alone. It's interesting because I have this really weird pain on the left side of my neck. And whenever we get pains in our necks, it's not being able to be flexible in the situation, to see with flexible eyes. So there's something here that's very rigid from you receiving, like seeing it for the blessing that it is, seeing it for what it could potentially bring into your life, seeing it for the higher perspective that it could bring as well, or seeing it as source is actually walking with you. Like, there's something here that's very rigid that's coming through, and you might be dealing with a lot of stiff neck, and it's just seeing life with a stiff perspective. So again, like with what we were saying with forgiveness, is just poke at it, you know, like seeing it. Well, if forgiveness is something that's selfish, then I have a right to pick that up, right? But sometimes selfishness is hard for us to even embrace, because we think like, oh, you know, I don't want to be a selfish person. But it's us forgiving for the sake of freeing ourselves, right? Kuthumi and Kianya. We have smile and feel the peace that smiling brings you. Ensure that there's divine peace within you at every level. So they want you to come back to this place of divinity and divine peace, right? And very abundant energy here. Very abundant. There's something here that has definitely ungrounded you through your journey. I cannot with you, pile one. We have Zadkiel coming out once again. You got Zadkiel twice here. Okay, so Zadkiel wants to say something to you. He says, the time for being passive and accepting begins now. Let go of all desires. Be patient and prepared. The right moment will come. Everything has its time. There's no need to force anything here. There's no need to push anything here. What a synchronicity for Zadkiel to come out in two different decks. Oh my gosh. And that's funny because this deck, this is actually the past life. Let me see if I have the book out here. Yeah. This is the past life energy oracle here, which is great. If you want to check into it, it's by Sandra Ann Taylor. Great oracle. I love this oracle. Absolutely beautiful. And then this is from the Dragon Riders oracle. So this is the dragon. I actually used this the other day in the pick a card reading that I was talking about, how this is a tandem reading too. So there's a very powerful message here from Zadkiel coming in. And I think that that's so amazing, because it's just reminding you that you can absolutely lean on him for your whatever you're going through. I leaned on him because I told him it was the first time I had ever prayed to an angel. I'll never forget this. I had reached a breaking point with my narcissistic ex, and very abusive. It's a very hard, difficult relationship that I had been through. And there's no need to go into the details. For those of you who've been in situations like that, you know. But I remember I was reading, it was Rebecca Rosen's, it wasn't Spirited, it was her other book, the one with the purple cover. I can't remember what it's called right now. I can't remember the name of the book. But I had picked it up after my mom had passed away. It was one of her books, and I picked it up, and I that was the first time I had opened it, was when I was going through this difficulty with my ex. And I mean, it was just escalating and escalating and escalating and escalating, and never seemed to stop. And I was so exhausted. I was so tired. I was so overwhelmed, and I was feeling depressed all the time. And I got to this page, and there was said, you know, ask Zadkiel to help you move through fear with this situation. And I've talked about how there was a third eye video that I had saved in my playlist for a long time at that time, because I was afraid. He's like, on the video, he said, don't watch this if you don't want to know that the person that you're with is the wrong person for you. And I wasn't ready to admit that yet. Like, I just wasn't ready. I was really stubborn. But I had reached a breaking point, and I remembered that Zadkiel was the angel that came through for courage. And I prayed to Zadkiel in the moment that I was having this huge argument with my ex, and he was yelling and screaming at me, and I was feeling so small on the bed. And I remember just closing my eyes, and he just kept on screaming and kept on screaming. And I just said, Zadkiel, please give me the strength. I don't know what to do, and I need you to help guide me. Please help me say whatever's the right thing to say. And I remember in that moment, I whispered. I had no voice. I whispered, I've had enough. I'm done. I can't do this anymore. And my ex was screaming at the top of his lungs. And I'll tell you, my whisper was enough to shake the world. He stopped screaming. He stopped yelling. And everything that he thought he had a hold on, I watched come crumbling down in front of him. Because I had no energy to argue. I only had the energy to leave. And the situation is incredibly crazy, what happened after that. But I'll never forget the presence I felt in that moment, because it was so powerful. And it helped me say exactly what I needed to say. And it was Zadkiel who came to my rescue. And that was when I had a huge turning point for my own spiritual journey, and realized that there's something more to this power of prayer than I ever realized. And I'm not saying that things got easy, but I remember there was a huge weight that was lifted off of my chest in that moment. And so Zadkiel is coming in here to tell you that you can absolutely rely on him. He's been watching you, and he wants to be here for you, and to help you and love you and take care of you. And I feel like that's something that's really powerful for him, to have two decks come through and say, I'm here, I'm here. And, you know, you can definitely research Zadkiel and see what other information comes up on him. Like I said, I learned about him from Rebecca Rosen, she's a world famous psychic medium. She's incredible. If you want to check out her books, I highly recommend her books. In fact, Spirited came up in another reading I did not too long ago too. So I just think that it's really powerful that he would come through twice for you, because whatever it is that you're dealing with is very challenging, and he knows that you need that additional support, and he'll offer that for you. Okay. So we do have Red Crown Crane with loyalty coming through here. So there's someone here, or there's a situation you're incredibly loyal to, but it's draining you. It's draining you. Okay. Yeah, it's time for you to embrace your authenticity. There's something here that it's okay for you to let go of. It's okay for you to turn back towards self with authenticity here. Let's get an angel number for you. Okay, so we have adaptability, 765. You are flexible and capable of facing changes. Trust in your strength to navigate any challenges that arise. What a great angel number to come through for you on this reading. Adaptability. You will adapt to this situation. Release. Look at this. We have 876 and 765. So this is like regression in some way, shape, or form, but regression with a purpose. Let go of old patterns and beliefs that no longer serve your highest good. Embrace freedom in your life. And Zadkiel coming in with freedom here as well, okay? So letting go of these old patterns. It's time to release. And you know what this is. Like, you know exactly what this is. Mercury, think, learn, network, and communicate. And I love that Mercury came in here because Mercury also talks about the rational mind, right? It's dealing with our rational mind and our logic, how we see the world, which is also connected to the third house, how we rationalize situations. So I do feel like there's a need to look at things from a very rational place, no longer trying to fantasize or even letting hope drive how you continue to show up, because sometimes we just really need to take a good, cold, hard look at what's in front of us and take off the rose-colored glasses of our fantasies and not let potential be what keeps us attached to a potentially toxic or overwhelming situation, right? Education, learning, and teaching. So this is really powerful to come out too, because it's just showing you like you're in the process of learning something new. Please be patient with yourself. Give yourself grace, okay? Tiger spirit, you're being called upon to provide leadership, so trust that you're capable of doing so. Okay, so you're about to step up into a very powerful place in your life. You're going to be a leader. You're going to be seen as a leader. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of who you are. Don't be afraid of what you've experienced. Don't be afraid of the steps that you have to take. And if there is fear there, that's okay too, right? What they're saying is don't let the fear control you. Still face that fear by showing up. Luck is on your side. Good things are coming. New moon in Sagittarius. Luck is on your side, okay? Good things are happening for you. A personal issue reaches resolution with full moon in Cancer. So something is coming to a close here, okay? Something is ending. Spider, yeah, you may very well resonate with the collective message because we got Spider Spirit, and I'll show you. We got Spider Spirit on the bottom of the deck. Make your dreams real. So if you feel called to it, definitely check that out. But we have 56 here, which is 11. Talking about spiritual ascension. This is a part of your ascension. And ascension is not something that is always going to be hunky-dory, beautiful, rainbow and unicorn farts and all that stuff. Like sometimes it's the most challenging thing that we do or have to go through. But what matters now is your resolve. Keep showing up. Keep being yourself. Keep letting yourself be seen. Keep speaking your truth. Keep being authentic to yourself. Those are all things that matter. I know you've gone through something that doesn't deserve forgiveness, but you deserve the freedom. Okay? Warrior. I love that warrior came through for you. Strength, skill, discipline, and toughness of will. Heroism, stoicism, and self-sacrificing, and conquering the ego. And we've been talking about egoic death. That's come up very, very frequent in your reading. Okay, so there's something here that's your ego's trying to hold on, and your spirit is saying, no, it's time for us to let go. And the ego doesn't like that, right? But it will. You will eventually get there. You will overcome this. So the shadow is trading ethical principles for victory at any cost. Indifference to the suffering inflicted on others. I feel like this is why it's been hard for you to let go and to forgive, is because there's some sort of indifference that's come through. And I've said that before. Hate is not the worst emotion in the world. Indifference is. Because it's such a lack of empathy for anyone else and what they're experiencing. You know, at least hate, there's still emotion that's charged there and stuff. But with indifference, there's not. It's just a lack of even caring, and it's empty. It's like walking into an empty white room and feeling completely lost and feeling completely like isolated. That's what indifference does to us. It's an incredibly harmful energy, and it's unfortunate, and I feel like you've dealt with a lot of indifference, and that's not fair. You didn't deserve that, okay? You deserve to be seen, and you will be seen by the people who matter. So remember that. Let's take a look at your card. I'm going to read this from the book. We have the horse. Spirit Witch talks about freedom. Horse is about freedom of spirit, letting yourself run through that open door, right? Don't hold yourself back any longer. I thought I saw it. Spider, yeah, horse. Okay. Look at this. Momentum, freedom, expansive energy, and force. The horse represents the most masterful form of earth energy within the deck. Grounding yourself is important too. It provides us with momentum so reliable, so supportive that you can ride on its back toward any goal, no matter how difficult the terrain. A horse personality is fully awakened, fully alive, and cannot be defeated. The horse's freedom becomes available to us when we hone and collect our energy through daily practice. Physical stamina, exercise, mental focus, meditation are secret weapons behind the horse's legacy. When in balance, achieves anything and never gives up. What a powerful energy. When out of balance, runs away and feels weak. To bring into balance, strength training. So I feel like that's really powerful, because I had mentioned at the beginning you might resonate with the collective message, and that's something that came out in the collective message as well. It was really profound. So there might be additional messages for you, only if you feel called to. You don't have to, but the thing here is for you to embrace freedom from a situation that has definitely made you feel less than, and it wasn't something you deserved to go through. And because of that, remembering that also equally it's okay for you to put it down. You don't have to keep carrying the weight. Okay, it's been long enough. You've done enough. You are enough. You have to give yourself the opportunity to experience what you're meant to experience now. Okay, so this is what I see for you here. Was not expecting the reading to go this long, but it was really, there was a lot that came out for you, pile one. But if you felt like this was your reading, leave a little horse emoji down below and say, I let go of the past and trust that I'm running towards freedom of self, freedom of spirit, freedom of expression, and freedom to be me. And if it resonated with you, it means so much to me if you're to like, comment, and subscribe below. And if you're interested in supporting the channel further, you'll find everything you need in the description box. So with that, I'd like to take a moment to thank your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, my spirit guides, and a very special shout out today to Archangel Zadkiel for coming in for your reading today. And until next time, pile number one, stay human. Bye. Welcome back, my fellow human. If you were drawn to this dice with the 9th house on it, or perhaps you felt called to this yellow jasper gemstone with the solar plexus seed sound Ram on it, or maybe you felt called to this card during the shuffle, this is going to be a reading on a message from your spirit guides. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. If you're new here, thanks so much for joining us. Please know that your time, your energy, and your presence are a true blessing and a gift. I'm honored to be here sharing it with you today. We're all here sharing this human experience together. And should the messages resonate, it would mean the world to me if you're to like, comment, and subscribe below. If you didn't catch the intro, this is a message from your spirit guides, but this could be an animal spirit guide, a totem. This could be your spirit guides, your angels, your higher self. Whatever it is that you feel is talking to you in this moment, that's what this is coming from. Pile one was incredibly powerful, so I know that yours is going to be as well. And if you feel called to it, you can definitely check out the collective message, which you'll find timestamped down below in the description box, okay? Pile number two, message from your spirit guides. Pile number two, message from your spirit guides. Okay, yeah, so we've got the 8th house, we have the sun, and we've got Scorpio energy. A lot of transitional energy coming in today, a lot of transformation that's on the board. I'm not surprised at all. You could have an 8th house, your sun in the 8th house, you could have Scorpio in the 8th house, you could have Scorpio sun, moon, rising, or Venus. You could have a lot of 8th house placements as well. I'm hearing a square as well, maybe 8th house square with, obviously that would be with other houses, but that's something that's coming in, so I'm just gonna go with it. I don't know a whole lot about astrology. I do know some, but I feel like even if you studied it for an entire lifetime, we would still only scratch the tip of the iceberg because there's so much to learn. All right. So this is something that is transformational that's coming in. You are learning to face fears, and you're overcoming something that maybe you felt like has been karmic in a sense, right? Or something that has been just happening time and time again. Like, it just doesn't matter what you do, it's just something that keeps arising, something that keeps coming up. Like, I thought I was done with this. Like, what the heck? Why is this still bothering me? Why is this still showing up in my life? Why am I still going through this? Why can't I overcome this? I'm hearing the hero complex coming in, where it's like you feeling like you have to rescue someone from themselves, or rescue people in life, or like you have to reach out a hand and drag people along. So there could be people pleasing tendencies here, but it does actually feel like some of you really just drag people by their pants, by their shoes, by their arms, by their hands. Like, you're just like, come on, I know the way to freedom. I know the way to transformation. I know the way to happiness. And they're fighting, kicking, screaming, biting, yelling, and doing all these things. And you're like, why can't you just see me? That is something that's really powerful coming in right now. Like, it's kind of wild seeing this image of you going back and forth and trying to drag these people along. It just feels like this huge weight. And you are changing. You've done so much work. Okay, you've done so much work. Please do not feel like you haven't done enough. You've done an incredible amount of work, pile 2, but your guides are coming in and saying, like, it's just time to try and focus on yourself instead of trying to drag people along with you, because there's a lot of people around you who just aren't willing to give up the old paradigm, and sometimes you just have to leave them to their own devices. And I feel like there's somebody here, or there's a group of people here who've been really oppressive and even obsessive towards you, and maybe even very jealous or very greedy. Like, they've been trying to take up your time. They feel like they're entitled to your time. They feel like they're entitled to you. And I feel like a part of you is feeling this obligation to them, whether that's the title that they hold in your life, the position they hold in your life, the label that they may have within your life. Like, there's some sort of obligation here, and your spirit guides are saying, like, it's okay to put down these obligations. They're not real obligations. It's just your emotional ego trying to convince you that it's your job to save everyone from themselves. But the truth is that, here's the question. If you stopped, who would come and save you? Just kind of want that to sink in for a second. If you were to stop, who would come and save you right now? So I'm feeling the blankness right now. Like, I'm feeling this blank energy. It's just, there's no names that are coming. There's no images that are coming. It's just blank. Because you're the savior. And they're saying that it's not your job to save others. It's your job to save yourself. And through saving yourself, you then save others. Right? Because your experiences and your stories and your wisdom and what you've learned becomes inspiration and motivation for others. People who are ready and willing to see what it is that you've gone through, or who resonate deeply with what you've gone through. Not everybody is going to resonate with your story, and that's okay. And not everybody's going to resonate with the things that you've experienced, and that's okay. That doesn't make it less than. It doesn't make it that it's not important. It doesn't make it vital to this mission that we're here on Earth to attend to, right? It's just that we can take that personally and feel like, oh, obviously if I was so-and-so, if I had a different position in life, like, I would matter more, and that's not true at all. You matter right now, pile 2. And that's what your guides want to tell you. Like, you are a natural born leader. You are somebody that is going to be in the spotlight. However that looks for you. It doesn't have to be standing on a stage in front of people. It could be behind a computer and helping people out with stats or investments, or with life, or building houses, or being a real estate agent, or being a lawyer or a doctor or a nurse or a psychologist. It could be doing something in the spiritual field. It could be doing something online. It could be doing something unique to you. It doesn't matter what it is. It's just you matter, and you are meant to be a leader in the industry that you're going into. But there's this feeling of dragging people along with you. It's like, I just want you to see. It's almost as if these individuals, if they actually saw the value of what you were seeing, you would feel validated in a sense, right? It's like, if they could just validate what it is that I'm doing, like, I would feel much better about my journey, myself. And please, like, don't blame yourself for that, and don't beat yourself up. Like, this is normal. It's a very normal thing for us to do. This is very human of us to do, is to want validation from the people that we've loved deeply in our lives, and that we have even trusted their opinions, and we've trusted their advice and their guidance even. And it's like, we want you to validate what it is that I'm doing, who I'm becoming. And when those people don't, or when they're telling us that we're wrong, it does something to us. It makes us feel inadequate. And I feel like that inadequacy is translating into overgiving, but overgiving in the means of dragging them along to make them see the reality of your journey, right? Like, if you're a psychologist and you're learning about dark psychology, like, that's such an interesting topic, by the way, but that's what's coming in. Say you're learning about dark psychology and you're learning about manipulation tactics, and you're trying to show them, like, hey, you guys are using manipulation tactics, and you're trying to tell them what they're doing, and they're just like, no, whatever, this is just who I am. And you're like, look, and you're showing them a book. You're like, look at my book. It's right here in the book. Like, see, it's there. I'm telling you that this is a real thing. And they're like, and I don't care. If that book can say it, 100 books can say it. This is just who I am. And then you see like a podcast on it. You're like, look, listen to this podcast. And they're like, I don't want to listen. You're like, just listen to it. I'm going to put it on in the background, right? That's what this feeling is. It's like every time they say no, there's like another reason for you to research it. There's another reason for you to try to convince them. And this is you letting go of a part of yourself that feels like they need that validation from someone else. And you don't. You need to validate yourself. Do you see value in what you're doing, pile 2? And I heard a lot of yeses. I heard a lot of yeses come through. Then that's all that matters. As long as you see validation, or as long as you see value in what it is that you're offering, that's the validation that you need. That's all you need. You don't need more than that. But there's some sort of feeling like, oh, if I don't get validation from this person, like say it's a parent, right? Maybe, or even a child, right? Like parent-child relations coming in here, or a caregiver. Say it's somebody that's just really important in your life, or they've had an important role in your life. It's like, well, but they matter to me. That's okay. Just because they matter to you and their opinion matters to you doesn't mean that their opinion on this is right. You have to trust yourself, and it's okay to want their validation, but that doesn't mean that you're going to get it. And can you come to terms with that? Really, that's all it is just coming to terms with, if I don't get it, can I still be okay? Like, if they don't see the value in what I'm doing, can I still be okay? Right? And if the answer is no, then that's a perfect reason for us to deepen our healing journey there. Like, why do I feel like my worth, my value, and my drive matter only when this person gives me validation? Like, what is it behind that? Right? And it's not wrong what you're doing. It's not wrong what you have done. None of that is. It's very normal. You're not alone. Like, I've gone through this with people in my life. I've had to let go. I've had to let go of people I didn't want to let go, who just absolutely refused to see the value in what it is that I was doing. I've given people who are close to me their own personal readings for free, and I had total synchronicities, and those situations happened, and they still refuse to believe, right? And it's okay. Like, I've had to realize, like, I can't make people realize what it is that I'm doing if I don't realize what I'm doing. And so that's what Source is saying here. That's what your guides are saying here. It's like, you have to realize the value in what it is that you're doing. If you don't, then others aren't going to find it valuable. But when you find it valuable, then the right people are going to see the value in what it is that you have, because there is value to what you're offering. But the transformation here is coming away from, you know, maybe these people don't want to see the value that you have because they're greedy or because they're jealous. They don't want to see you do good. They don't want to see you succeed at what it is that you're doing. And that's hard, but you're already taking action because you chose the solar plexus chakra gemstone. You're already taking action. There's a lot of fuel. There's a lot of motivation. There's a lot of fire behind this. And stoking that fire can be a challenge, right? My chair is squeaking. So let's get some cards on it. Yeah, there's a choice here, is what they're saying. Somebody's being conceited in your energy. It does feel like a person. It could be a group of people here. But somebody just is very cautious. They want to cause doubt. They want to cast doubt. Like they don't want things to change. And I don't feel like it's actually you. I feel like your perspective has been profound enough to elicit some sort of question within them, but it's the question itself that's eliciting insecurities within them, because it means that maybe they had it wrong all along. And that feeling that if I'm wrong, I wasn't right, which is like a huge, huge hit to the ego, right? And the ego, it doesn't like that. And so the ego is fighting back right now, this person. Message from your spirit guides, pile number 2. Thank you. Okay. Message from your spirit guides, pile number 2. What is the message today? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Message from your spirit guides, pile number 2. Yeah. Okay, so even before we look at what's on the bottom of the deck, with the Queen of Coins here, it's showing like you do have the potential to see something through to very, very high success. Maybe it's not the King of Pentacles, but, you know, the King of Pentacles comes with a lot of wisdom and a lot of time in the industry. And it's not that you don't have that. What it is that this is like receiving it, finally getting into a state where you're receiving it, understanding what it is that you're doing, and knowing how to go with the flow, right? Learning how to nurture it and learning how to allow it to nurture you as well, and how it's directing you and how you're directing it, right? Because when you're really involved in something, whether that's spirituality or career, or building something, creating something, like, yes, we're the conductors, right? We're the ones that are leading it at the beginning, but eventually it helps mold us, because it will have some way that it wants to be carved, or some way that it wants to shape itself. And when we let that happen, then we begin to work in tandem with spirit. That's when magical things happen. And that's when we begin to grow. And so that's the point where you're at right now. It's like you're building something that's very powerful, very strong. You're creating something that's very powerful and very strong. But there's this essence of where now you're beginning to work in tandem with Source and allow things to shape themselves, right? So let them be what they're going to be, instead of trying to force it to be something that you expect it. You've relinquished expectations on whatever it is that you're creating. And with this person or these people, they're recognizing that power that's starting to stand out within you, or that has been standing out within you. It's becoming unmovable. And this has been something that's come up in quite a few of my readings recently, is that immovable energy. And that's really powerful, but it's something that's building. You're unshakable in your belief. You're unshakable in what it is that you want to create, and that's okay. And so they're doing their best to push boundaries, but they're doing their best to play havoc on your emotions here with the 7 of Cups in the reverse, right? This is a lack of emotional boundaries. So whether they're doing it consciously or subconsciously, they could be driven subconsciously by jealousy here. They could be driven subconsciously by any kind of negative feelings here towards you. they're trying to play havoc on your emotions because your emotions are the thing that responds the loudest and the quickest. So they've recognized that pattern in the past, but somehow, some way, your emotions are no longer in that place of like, oh, if you say I shouldn't do it, then I'm not going to. But they do recognize that there's still that string where they're still affecting you, right? And so that's what your spirit guides want you to know. It's okay to put this down. It's okay to allow the change to happen. It's okay to allow the shift to happen. Yeah, it's okay to cut ties, right? To stand and be strong. Because here's the thing, whatever this is it's creating a lot of emotional exhaustion for you, and it's creating a lot of mental exhaustion too. It's like there's something here where, well, maybe if I do it this way, then they'll see the value. Or maybe if I say it in this way, then they'll see the value. Or maybe I'll do, and I feel like you've come up with a million different ways and you presented it to these people a million different ways. It's not your delivery. It's the fact that they're blocked off to whatever it is that you're doing. They're just not meant to see it. They're not going to ever see it. You could become the most famous person in the world. You could become the next Oprah. You could become the next King Charles, right? Like you could become the next most amazing person in the world that everybody has their eyes on, and they're still going to find fault with whatever it is that you do because they're either comparing themselves to you or they don't want to see you succeed because it highlights the fact that they were wrong. That's the thing that keeps coming up. Like, I don't want to be wrong. I want to keep pushing it pile 2 to make them feel like they're wrong. So that way then I can be right and I'll get some sense of self-satisfaction from that. It might be a sixth sense of self-satisfaction, but there's some sort of self-satisfaction that they're trying to derive from this. And what your guides want you to know is to let go of what this person thinks, because it doesn't matter. To continue on your journey, because getting involved with them, like you have a 7 on both sides of this queen of coins, and the 7 for me as a number is all about luck if you change what it is that you're doing. And both of them in reverse here, getting involved in a lost cause with this person because they keep emotionally playing havoc on you. It's time for you to really embody and embrace your stability and to charge forward with the solar plexus energy here, to charge forward unhindered towards what it is that you want to create. It doesn't matter. You could blow up a firework of what it is that you're doing with proof in front of this person's face, and they would deny it. Okay, they would find a way to deny it. They would find a way to make it seem like it was less impressive than it was, or it's okay. You know, you could give them, here's an example, okay? You could give them the best meal of their life. And everybody that's tried it, they're like, man, this is the best meal I've ever had. This is the best thing I've ever tasted. Like, wow, you should open a restaurant. This is so good. And you give it to this one person that you want validation from, and they say, I've had better. Well, that was rough. Anticlimactic, maybe? I mean, it's like you're expecting them to be like, wow, this is so good. Thank you. And instead you get, I've had better. It's okay. I don't really like it. I mean, I'm eating it, right? It's just this very blasé type of energy that's coming through with this person or these people. It could be a group of people, right? And emotionally, they know that that affects you. And so that's what they keep playing at. And this is also people who have had control over you emotionally at some point. And I just want you to know, Pile 2, like, your spirit guides are telling you too, like, don't blame yourself for caring about this person. In fact, you know, I want you to know how admirable it is that you still cared about them, even when they hurt you so badly. Because this does hurt. Like, when people show up in different, I said this in Pile 1, you know, and I've said this in other readings too. It's like, hate is not the worst emotion that's out there. It's not the worst thing that we have, because there's still emotion that's with it. The worst possible thing that we could do to somebody is to be indifferent towards them. And I feel like that indifference creates huge rifts of resentment and hurt and pain, because it's just like, can't you just at least if you reacted anger, or if you reacted in some way, or if you even told me like, I hate your guts, I don't want anything to do with you, at least we can find closure. But indifference just leaves us on the edge of our seats wondering, like, well, you know, is there anything going on in there? Hello? Knock, knock, you know, like, give me something. And they don't. It's just, and that's what I feel like you've been dealing with, is some kind of indifference here when it comes to this person. And it's just, you just want them to say, hey, I think you did a good job. Hey, I think this is awesome. I'm glad that you decided to go this journey. Like, I feel like it's perfect for you. You know, it doesn't even have to be anything great. It could just be a pat on the head, right? Like, wow, amazing. One word would mean the world to you. And again, it's not about being like, oh, I would never want anything from that person, you know, screw them. I feel like the more angry you get about it in that regards, that's showing how much you care. Like, it really is. It's showing how much you really care about this person validating you, or this person just seeing you even, or acknowledging you. There's like some sort of needing acknowledgement from them. And I don't want you to feel like that is a bad thing, because it's not. It's admirable that despite how this person has shown up time after time, or these people, despite how they've shown up time after time after time, you still want them to be a part of this. You still want them to be included in this. And your spirit guides are saying that's just wearing on you emotionally. Like, you're stepping into a version of your life that they're just not going to be a part of. You know, you're already at a version in your life that they're not a part of. Here they're showing up as the Seven of Wands and the Seven of Cups, both in the reverse. Like, they're just not in a place where they're ready to change who they are. And you're already stepping up into Queen energy and going from Queen to Emperor energy here with the Queen of Swords to the Emperor. Having to learn how to disconnect from these people is challenging in and of itself, but it will be rewarding for you. And it's just remembering, you know, like, an emperor cares about all of his subjects, right? He cares about all of his people. But just because he cares about all of his people doesn't mean that he can give every one of the people in his domain the time that they are asking for. He has to be very selective in who he invites in to hear their stories, because everybody will make everything that is going on in life a problem, and they'll make it his problem. And that's the thing. It's like this person or these people are trying to make this your problem. You need to fix them. No, you don't. They need to fix themselves. You've already fixed you. And, you know, it's not like you were ever broken in the first place. You've already found a place that's feeling like you're in alignment. And if you continue down this path, there are good things that are unfolding for you. And that's what they're saying. Continue down this path. Don't give up. Don't fall into the temptation that getting an okay or a great or good job from this person is actually going to make you feel better. Because the thing is that if they were to say that today, you could say that would be enough. And maybe for today it would be, but tomorrow you would wake up wanting more. Like, it'll never be enough, because there's just something involved with the emotional ego in this person. And that's what's being played on right now. And so there's this transition and this egoic death that's happening within you, so that you can truly shine as a leader and recognize that you are loved, you are valued, you do matter, you are seen, you are heard, and you're heard by the people who matter on your journey. And even if this person holds some sort of feeling of obligation, it feels like an obligatory relationship. Okay, that's what it feels like. So parent-child relationship, family, a lover, baby's daddy, a baby's mommy, like someone you're tied to in some way, shape, or form. There's some sort of obligatory energy here where it's like, I owe them, they owe me. But the truth is no matter what role you've played in each other's lives, neither one of you owes the other anything. It just feels like that because that's what the emotional ego keeps pointing at. Like, hey, but your spirit guides want you to remember that you're already stepping up into a very powerful, prosperous, abundant place. And that's what they truly want you to focus on. You see how she's wholly focused on this coin here, right? While her wand is directing her actions. Yes, the wand is behind her, but it's directing her towards a better future. And that's the thing. They want you to direct yourself towards a better future while grounding yourself and trusting the prosperity that you're asking for. Even though you want this person or these people to see you, they're just not capable of doing so. And so when you let go, you're allowing yourself to stand up into a more grounded version of yourself. So let's get some more out on it. All right. Whoa. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so we have the 7th house coming out. Profound relationships, intimacy, romantic partnerships. So pointing towards, this is a very personal connection that you have. Okay, this could be a loved one, romantic from the past, a current romantic partner. There's some sort of attachment to this person with the 7th house. Definitely showing that this is some sort of very important person in your life, or at some point has been very important. Okay, and it's involving your dreams. And right now we're trying to transcend beyond illusions, right? We're trying to let go of what's been holding us back. Angel, that's enough. Thank you. And to step into our personal power. And Neptune is a place of illusion because we can't see clearly. And so this is something that you're having a hard time seeing clearly because there's a lot of emotional connection to them. And that's okay. Again, it's not wrong. It's just, can you put down the emotion and step into your own internal awareness to navigate yourself moving forward? All right, let's get some more out here. Spirit guides message for pile number 2. Thank you. Bottom of the deck, we've got deceit, betrayal, and manipulation. Wow. So we do see that this person has definitely been betraying you. She's holding a wedding ring in her hand. I don't know if you guys can see that right there. Yeah, so the thing is that there's a lot of deceit here. They are manipulating you. They know they're manipulating you. I feel like that's a thing. I feel like you recognize that too, pile 2. There's no like me surprising you with this, like, oh, they're manipulating you. I feel like you're like, yeah, I know they are, but I still just, I care about them. I can't help but care about them. And I feel like people saying like, well, you shouldn't care about manipulators, like let them go. And you know what? We get emotionally involved with people in various different ways. And sometimes the people that we love the most are the people who have hurt us the worst. And that is just a pattern that unfolds on this earthly plane. And so please do not beat yourself up for that, right? I mean, look, she's looking miserable. She looks so melancholy here and like woeful because it hurts a lot. She trusted them. She believed in them, and maybe she knew the deceit was there, but at the end of the day, it came back and it hurt her the most, right? Yes, maybe hurting people hurts us too. And maybe that's true for them, but right now they're hurting you and they're aware of it, right? They're still trying to keep you small, and it's time for you to move on and to step into your power. Blue Heron, make a stand for what you believe in and do what feels right in spite of any judgment or disapproval from others. I mean, your message is so clear. It's very clear. A source coming in and saying this is what's been coming up for you, pile 2. Your spirit guide saying it's time for you to stand up and make a stand for yourself. We have chimpanzee. Use both your intuition and your intellect to solve the problem or get answers to your questions, right? Sometimes it's okay to just sit back and observe. Let your intuition guide you rather than letting the emotional ego guide you. Because I do feel like sometimes the emotional ego just takes over, right? That's fine. That's fine. It's just, I feel like everybody's like, you shouldn't let it happen. You know what? There shoulda, coulda, woulda. It's something that does happen. And it's okay. It happens to me. It happens to a lot of the clients that I've talked to. It happens to a lot of people that I've dealt with on a normal basis, right? Why is it called the emotional ego? Why is it connected to the subconscious? Because it's autopilot. Sometimes it's being aware is letting it happen and being aware that it's happening, right? Like it's not us eradicating it right away. It's just being aware and letting our intuition guide us to what we do in the moment that we're aware that it's happening. Meditate and contemplate. New moon in Pisces. Yeah, so this is about you coming back to this state of trusting in yourself, trusting in the divinity, trusting in the guidance that you're receiving as well. Pisces is connected to Neptune, but there's definitely also a lot of guilt and shame here. So I feel like this person might guilt trip you or make you feel ashamed for wanting to move away or wanting to leave them behind. Like they know how to play on your emotional strings. Just being aware of that. Being aware, are they playing me right now? Probably. Okay. So how are they playing me? What is there something that I can take away from this situation? Instead of wanting their validation, instead of wanting them to see me, instead of wanting them to hear what it is that I'm saying, what can I take away from this now moment? Right? That's part of us tapping into our intuition. Just staying quiet and letting them show you who they are. You'll see the truth. And you might already know the truth, but staying quiet and allowing your intuition to lead you right now is the most important thing. Koala spirit. With spirit has a plan. So you're not alone. You're in this situation right now because there's something greater that's coming. This is teaching you to have backbone. This is teaching you to be strong in a difficult situation. This is teaching you that, you know, maybe if you're putting yourself out there, especially with the sun, you could be putting yourself out there for other people. What you're going through right now is so challenging because you may run into people who are vicious in real life, right? And they've got some really vicious things to say to you, and nothing that anybody else says to you will ever be as difficult as what you're going through now. And you'll have the tools to face those moments when they arise. And that's why I feel like this is something that when you really truly tap into yourself, you're going to know how to move forward without fear. And also, just really quickly, you might resonate with the collective message I did at the beginning of the reading. And if you're interested, you'll find it timestamped down below. It is not a requirement. It is just for those of you that are interested, okay? Yeah, judge. This is a very unfair situation, okay? But we have balancing justice and compassion, managing the fair distribution of power. The shadow, offering only destructive criticism. Okay, I don't even need to read the rest of this because that's the thing that's coming through. This person or these people, they're offering destructive criticism. That's exactly what I was feeling like with the meal. It's like you give them the meal. Everybody else is like, wow, you're so good. You made this amazing meal. It was so delicious. It's the best thing I ever had. Can I have it again? And you give it to the one person that you really want to just appreciate it, right? It's like you're giving a piece of yourself. Like thinking about cooking, it's like giving a piece of yourself to someone. You want to enjoy that time with someone while they're eating your food. And you want them to appreciate what you've given them because it's giving a part of yourself away. In a sense, it's love that you're giving to someone. And I feel like that's all you do for this person or these people. You give love and they still refuse to see you. It's met with destructive criticism. Like, oh, you know, like maybe other people can do that, but what makes you so special, right? Like, oh, it's okay. I've had better. You know, there's like all these things. There's like just met with a stone wall of negativity. Just absolutely. There's no moving on from that. There's no coming back from it either. Like every time it happens, it hurts. It cuts. I hear that Jewel song. The first cut is the deepest. I don't know any of the rest of the lyrics, but that's what was coming through. It's like this is a very deep wound that's being irritated right now, and it is being irritated because you're meeting it with awareness of who you are now. And so the autopilot is starting to get very uncomfortable with being in that awareness, but the ego is trying to fight back to let autopilot take over. And so now it's like, okay, like I have to choose something different for myself because it's just not working out for me, right? And so the ego is trying to fight back, and the ego is trying to convince you like, no, let's just keep on this path. It's going to protect us. It's going to save us because this cut's been really deep. We don't want it to happen again, but it's not. It happens every time you follow the emotional ego and you're met with this criticism that it's demeaning and it's hurtful and it's heartbreaking, right? We have Saga, and I'm gonna try and say this, Sheala Shagthon. This kind of makes me feel like the Temperance card here, right? So finding balance, integration of the shadow and the light aspects of ourselves, and healing It says, drink from the holy water of wisdom, and from now on, follow the way of self-awareness. Oh my gosh. Be like water, flow freely and unhindered along your path. So again, self-awareness, this is about coming into awareness. And that's the thing. It's like there's some action or some response or some reaction that's coming out that's just asking to be met with awareness, to see the deeper truth here. Okay. It's hurtful and it hurts every time. And it's like, it's almost like you're used to being hurt. So you don't really take it as personal as maybe you should. And I feel like that's kind of a weird way of saying it too, but that's how they're showing me. It's like something you should be taking personal, not to project back onto this person, not to make them feel the same way they made you feel, but to take it personal. Like, I don't deserve this. I have a right to walk away. I have a right not to share with this person. Right? Like, they want it to be in your awareness and taking it personal as a means for protecting yourself and taking self-care to the next level. So we have Eru and Lotus with trust your judgment, believe in yourself and your truth. Yeah, so it's like, and with this sort of truth here, it's like being cold. There's like a purity to cutting them out. There's a purity to cutting out this want for validation or this seeking of being seen by them. Maybe it's just being seen, being recognized by them instead of being breadcrumbed. Like, this just really feels like breadcrumbing to me. It does not feel good. It's like in the pit of my stomach. I just feel this really weird energy where it's just like, oh, like every time I think this is going to be the time that they see me. And then I'm met with the exact same energy. And, I feel like everybody's like, oh, well, Maya Angelou said it best. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time, right? And that's a beautiful sentiment. It is. It's beautiful. And I think that she's an amazing person. She's offered so much wisdom to us and things. But also what comes with that is that's nice. That's nice to believe them the first time. But while we can believe them the first time, still our wounds are going to be in control of how we continue to show up until we heal them and let them go. If we are not letting go of the wound, that wound is going to continue to play havoc on our lives. It's like, yes, we can make a choice, but the choices that we make are to choose to heal. And healing means surrendering the trigger. Right? Surrendering the whatever trigger is making us run and seek validation, whatever trigger is coming up when they treat us this way, whatever trigger is coming up, like we're seeing that pain and we're saying, I'm sorry that I've had to carry this pain. I'm sorry that I ignored when this pain came up, and I'm ready to relinquish this. I'm ready to surrender. And that's easier said than done, but the process of peace, patience, and persistence has the power to take you there. Yeah, we have Fruit Bat with Flying Fox here with kindness. This is about being kind, especially to the shadow self. Like, bats, for me, always represent the shadow, and being kind to the shadow self. Like, realizing not to judge yourself because this might be how you're showing up. Right? It's hard. I feel like we're saying like, oh, I can't acknowledge how I'm showing up like this because this is ugly. Like, I don't want to be that person. I want to be like everybody else who says, screw you. And I laugh because look, I've been here too. I've been here in fact, I've been going through this very same thing, and it's a story I'm not yet willing to share, but I want you to know, like, this very thing is something that is normal. I went through this with my ex. I went through this with my grandparents. I went through this with family. I went through this with friends. And until I chose to look at the pattern within me that was letting this part of me play out, and realizing I don't need to have the memories, right? You don't have to remember what the wound was, the initial wound was. But going within yourself and saying, I'm sorry to yourself, and saying, I'm ready to let go. I don't need to remember the memories, where this came from. Like, I don't need to. You remember them. The internal self, the inner child, the part of you that keeps playing this part over and over again. They remember it well. But it's time to say, like, we get to do different together. So working in tandem with your inner self, working in tandem with your inner child and saying, we get to choose something different together that's going to be less hurtful. And I need your help with this. And asking them, are you willing to let go of it for me so that I can heal myself? So that we can heal together and so that we can be free together. Wow, I just got really emotional. Hold on. Wow. Because that's something that's really powerful for you, okay? It's incredibly powerful for you and it's healing for you. And I feel like that's also with the kindness part here. It's like this is a part of yourself that maybe you've denied for a long time. It's like it's a part of yourself that when it comes up, you don't want to look at it because it's just, you know, it could be anything. It feels like a flaw. It feels like an edge that I need to keep sanding away at. But what if our edges are just as beautiful as the smooth parts of us? And can we honor that? Can we honor they're different? Can we honor that they're their own unique shape? Can we honor that they offer something that our smooth sides don't? You know, and that's what it is. It's just honoring this part of yourself that's remembered for so long, that initial cut, and that has been wanting to run. It's not about judging them. It's not about judging yourself. It's just about honoring that we understand that this pain has kept us in this cycle. And we get to let it go together. We get to work on this together, right? Especially with the 8th house in Scorpio. This is working on the shadow self. And doing it in a very kind, compassionate, and loving way. Beaver with work. This is going to take work. This is not going to be a one and done type situation. So every time that you have a moment where you backslide, which is natural, that's a natural part of our journey. We're going to backslide, especially while we're learning. You know, it's like, have you ever tried to do something new? Like maybe play the piano, like an instrument, learn a language, or, you know, maybe you're learning about plants, you're growing plants. You know, there's this point where we're successful, we're moving forward, we're learning. Right, so let me use the piano as an example. They're telling me, like, you learn Mary Had a Little Lamb. You're so excited. You learn both hands, right? I can play both hands with Mary Had a Little Lamb. I'm so excited. And I can play it really well. I can play it really well. And then they're like, okay, cool. So we're going to move up to chopsticks, and there's 2 hands. And it might seem easy, but they're showing you how to do 2 hands, and you keep missing 1 note. And you're like, oh my gosh, this song is so easy. Why do I keep missing a note? Like, you're blaming yourself rather than recognizing, well, it's different than Mary Had a Little Lamb, right? It's a totally different scenario. And so it feels like you're backsliding, but you're really just facing a new part of yourself, or you're really just facing a new part of the journey. And even though it's an old part of the journey, it's now is the first time that you've opened the door to that part of yourself to give it an opportunity to have a voice. And that's why it's going to take work. And so it's going to take practice. It's going to take peace. It's going to take patience with yourself to face this part of yourself. And I feel like you've done enough judging to last yourself probably 3 or 4 lifetimes over. And part of that comes from the fact that this person or these people have also done enough judging you to last 3 to 4 lifetimes over. So don't you owe it to yourself, pile 2, to be kind and compassionate to yourself now and to show up without judgment? You had enough people do that in your life. Don't be that to yourself too, right? Be the one who says, hey, let me just sit with you while we work through this pain. Let me just sit with you while you cry your eyes out. Let me just sit with you while you work through this. You didn't deserve this. I didn't deserve this. But I deserve to be with you now, and you deserve to have somebody who's going to fight for you now. And I'm going to be that person. All right, let's get an angel number here. For pile number 2, can we please have an angel number? Renewal. You are experiencing renewal and fresh beginnings. Release the past and embrace the opportunities for growth and transformation ahead. 890. Yeah. This is a brand new beginning. Closing out a cycle, for sure. This is closing out a cycle, but it's been a really rough cycle. And honoring that it's been rough, it's okay. You don't need to make it less than it is, and we don't need to make it more than it is either, right? But we can honor it for exactly what it has been. It's been challenging. It's been difficult. There's been moments of excitement, and there's been moments of complete sorrow, and that's okay, right? Harmony. Embrace harmony in your life. Seek balance between your physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. 121. And this is spiritual healing. What they're showing me to have you connect with your inner child. This is spiritual healing. Okay, this is reconnecting with that spiritual side to help heal the emotional and the physical. So there's something that has to be done internally here in order to be mirrored out into the physical world. Okay. All right, so we've got phobias, fears, anxieties, and overcoming fears, right? So there's something here, there's a big fear here, which is interesting because I was talking about arachnophobia during the collective message. So that, again, might have additional messages for you, only if you feel called to, but I do feel like I need to mention that because it came out really powerful when the card came out. But there's a lot of anxiety. I feel like the anxiety is letting go. There's a fear of abandonment here. There's a fear of loss of something if you let go. You know, like, oh, I'm losing something, losing stability, or I'm losing family, or I'm losing love, or I'm losing something, right? And that's the illusion that's been keeping you in this cycle of holding on. And maybe if you step aside and see it outside of the box for just a moment, what does it really look like to you? Does it look like love? Does it look like commitment? Does it look like compassion? Does it look like peace? Or is it chaos? And if it's chaos, then, you know, how can you show up for yourself in the midst of chaos? It doesn't mean that you can actually walk away right now. And I can appreciate that. I'm not ever going to be the reader that says, you know, pack a bag and get on the road. I've done that before, but I also recognize just how challenging that is. And if you don't have the help to do that in the moment, you have to make discerning choices for yourself when you're stuck in a situation that you have to stay in, which I've also been in. And so those things are very, very two contrasting energies. And I feel like everyone's like, just leave them, just, you know, leave their A in the dirt. And you're like, well, that's a nice thought process, but it's just not feasible right now. And that's okay. So if it's not feasible for you to leave, if it's not feasible for you to move away from them or to get space from them, then what is feasible in this moment? How can you create space for yourself, right? Is that wearing your headphones and listening to frequencies when they're at home, and maybe journaling and finding time where you're focused on yourself instead of focused on trying to garner attention from them or garner validation from them, and please don't look at these as bad things, right? Like, I feel like when we say these things, everybody's like, oh, I'm not that person. And it's not that. These are natural actions, reactions of being human. We've all done it. Okay. We all have done it. I'm guilty. You're guilty. Everybody's guilty. Let's all raise a hand and move on, right? Let's just not make it a big deal. And that's the thing. It's like, but how can you focus on yourself? That's the thing here. That's what they're asking. Nothing is yet set in stone. Mutable moon. That's the thing. And I feel like when you focus on yourself, there's going to be doors of opportunity that open for you that you had yet to see. And that's going to be a powerful place for you. Okay. Look at this. We have 6 with phobias, and then we have 66 coming out with the white raven spirit. Trust in the magic. Trust that self-love has the power to change your life for the better. And trust that self-focus has the power to bring opportunities to your life as well. Source is going to help you through this. Your guides are going to help you through this. Lean on them a lot more, okay? No, we've got 60. Look at this. 6, 66, and 60. This is a very illusion-based connection. And I feel like whoever's involved in this with you knows that. They know how to paint an illusion to make you act or react a certain way. Okay, but with Swan Spirit, time for a deep dive. It's time to focus on yourself. Okay? With a lot of white birds here, the bird's the focus here. Okay? Flying higher, getting a higher perspective. Seeing things from a place of love, of unconditional love, right? It's like, I feel like even though you love these people or this person, it's like love is making you feel guilty or like you owe them something. But again, it's like realizing if you were to take away your love and if you didn't give to them, would they give back to you? Would they come back crawling and say, hey, I'm so sorry, I messed up. Like, I miss your love. Like, I miss your kindness, your compassion. Like, chances are not, right? And sometimes that's a big eye opener too. when you've given so much and then when you pull back your energy, like, look, let me tell you, when I left my narcissistic ex, I cut ties with him and I left Colorado. I drove from Colorado to North Carolina in the span of a day and a half. It's a 24-hour drive straight through. And I had to take naps on the way there because I had spent the whole morning packing up my car. Literally left with the clothes on my back and what I could fit inside of my car. And when I got there, I was expecting an apology. I was expecting him to just be like, hey, you know, like, why can't we work this out? Like, this thing, everything that you would think a person who you had spent the better half of 8 years with, right? Like, I'd been with him for a very long time. You would have thought that it would have mattered and been like, hey, you know, like, you just left. You didn't say goodbye. You just left. Like, what's the deal? Is there something that we can work on? Like, let's talk. And the only thing that he said to me is, if you need money, you have to call me right now. That was the only message I got from him. That was it. I never got an apology. I never got an anything. And I chose not to answer that text message. I chose not to. And that was the end of it. That was the end of it. And then a year and a half later, he reached out to me via Facebook. And he asked to see my dog. He's like, hey, I have a right to see the dog. And she was my dog. She was not his dog. She was my dog. I had her before I met him. And so she's my dog. And I was like, are you kidding me? And I wanted to say something. And the first thought that came to mind is, I have a duty to protect her from his chaos. That was the first thing that came in. It was easy for me to use her as a segue to protect myself because I needed to protect her, which he was really rough with her too, which I know people have things to say about that too, but until you're in that situation, it's hard to judge. It's hard to judge how you would be when you're involved in that situation like that, right? And so I used her and I said nothing. I was like, I have to protect her. I'm going to protect her and I'm not going to say anything. So I didn't. I deleted the message. I blocked him. And then 2 years after that, he reached back out to me and from another profile. And he's like, hey, we need to talk. And by this time, I had done so much healing. I was like, about what? About what? Like, there's nothing that I have to say to you. I've moved on. I can't get back together with you. I'm not going down this hill. Like, that was it. But it was like, it took him 3.5 years for him to finally say, we need to talk. 3.5 years. Not when I left. Not when it mattered most. Not when it was fresh. It was like after the dust had settled, let me cause some more chaos and say we need to talk, right? So I get it. I get it. It's like, but I think that's what's happening here. It's like, if you were to draw back your energy, it would be met with silence. It would be met with something unexpected, but unexpected at the same time. And I feel like shocking is maybe the better word for that, right? Like, just something shocking. You'd be like, really? Because that's not at all how I would do this. And we can't come from our perspective trying to put that onto another person because they don't see the world from our view. And you've already witnessed that, which we've seen through this reading. And that's what they're saying. Like, your guides are saying, like, it's okay for you to pull back and observe you pulling back. What does that mean to the connection when you're not the one carrying it? What happens? And it's okay to observe that. It's make a note of it. Journal about it, right? Make a note on your phone. Like, oh, today I pulled back and I didn't say anything. And I recognized that we had 10 hours of complete silence. Neither one of us talked to each other when I didn't initiate conversation. Right? Like, just making a note of these things so that you can make a discerning decision for yourself. Okay. Dilettante. We have delights in the arts without having to be a professional, alerts you to the danger of becoming superficial in your pursuits. And then the shadow is pretension to much deeper knowledge than you actually possess. So again, I just really feel like this has to do with something that you're creating with the dilettante energy here. I feel like this is something that you're really proud of. This is something you really admire a lot. And this is something that you really value for yourself. But it's like, I just want you to see the value in what I do. And it's okay. Like, I know that feeling can be so overwhelming. But whoever this is in your life that's connected to the 7th house energy here, they're not ever going to open their eyes to see the value of what it is that you're offering. And it's just because they're just not in that space, right? So you owe it to yourself to honor what you're doing and go back to focusing on that. So let's take a look at your card. I'm going to read this from the book. I should have expected this reading to be as long as it is today, but we're going to go with it. Hawk, seeing things from a higher perspective. Yeah. That's what I was saying. There's something about birds here, and I'm not surprised that we've got hawk coming out, because it's just, it really does feel like this. Seeing this from a bird's eye view, seeing it from above the situation. You've been so emotionally tied into this situation. It's time to like distance yourself and maybe dissociate for a little while. Like, it's okay to do that sometimes. It's okay to just be like, I need to just, you know, I know this is how I feel about this person, but I just need to like turn that off for a second. I need to look at this like maybe through the eyes of my best friend, or through the eyes of my daughter, or through the eyes of my son, or through the eyes of someone I really care about. Like, how would I feel if they were telling me they were going through something like this with this person, or with somebody like this in their life? Like, how would I feel? Like, sometimes just taking ourselves out of it and seeing it from another person's perspective can help us view this from a more clear mind, is what I'm feeling here for you, pile 2. So we have hawk. Hawk, hummingbird, vulture, crow, owl, nightingale, peacock, eagle, hawk. Okay. Watchful. Look at this. Watchful, all-seeing, messenger of divinity. The sharp eyes of the hawk watch our every move. This keen-eyed bird has the ability to see every little detail as well as the bigger picture. When this card appears, fate has its eye on you, and the winds are shifting. It is said that the hawk carries news upon its wings as a sent from divinity itself to deliver it. The message should not be taken lightly. Though it may seem small or insignificant, it will eventually redirect your course. When in balance, you see clearly and intuitive. When out of balance, sees too much or is suspicious. Like, I cannot make this up. To bring into balance is a perspective shift, to see things differently. Right? That's the thing. They want you to see things differently here. There's a need to see things differently. There's a need to open your eyes to something more powerful here within yourself, and you can, right? And with 6 coming out so much for your reading, it's just showing that, you know, like 6 is about solutions, resolutions, balance, harmony. For myself, 6 is all about seeing ourselves with eyes of unconditional love and seeing ourselves through the eyes of the divine. And sometimes it's really hard for us to do that because we're seeing ourselves through the judgments of others and through the judgments of ourselves. So it's about seeing yourself as this pure soul worthy of unconditional love. And through that unconditional love, that means that you have a right to make choices that serve your higher good. And maybe no one's told you that, or maybe you just didn't really feel like that was something that you had an opportunity to choose. So please hear me when I say, coming from your spirit guides, they're saying you have a right to choose. You have a right to choose for yourself. You don't owe anybody anything. And I know that can be really challenging, especially in situations like this, but it's time to see yourself through eyes of love and say, I don't deserve to be treated this way. And when you do, you're going to make space for the people who matter to come in and see and value you as you are in this moment. Because you do matter, and you are valuable, and you are an amazing soul. Okay? So this is what I see here for you today. If you felt like this was your reading, is there a hawk emoji? I know there's an eagle emoji. So if there's a hawk emoji, leave that down below. If not, leave the crow emoji down below and just say, I choose to fly and see my situation from higher perspective so I can clearly discern the best direction for myself in this here, now, here moment. And if it resonated, it would mean so much to me if you're to like, comment, and subscribe below. And if you're interested in supporting the channel further, you'll find everything you need in the description box. So I'd like to take a moment to thank your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, and my spirit guides for coming together to give us this truly powerful message today. And until next time, pile number 2, stay human. Bye. Hello. my fellow human, if you were drawn to this dice with the 12th house on it, or perhaps you felt called to this heart chakra jade gemstone with the seed sound yam on it, or perhaps you felt called to this card during the shuffle. This is going to be a reading from your spirit guides. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. And if you're new here, thanks so much for joining us. We're all here sharing this human experience together. If you did not catch the intro, I had mentioned that this was originally supposed to be from your animal spirit guides, but as I got into it, I realized I needed to open it up to all spirit guides, so that way then you could get the messages that you were looking for. So this could be directly from the animal spirit guide that you're getting at the end here, or a common spirit guide that comes up throughout the reading itself. This could be coming from your angels, your guides, your ancestors, or your, God, source, spirit, universe, whatever. Okay, so just take it as we get into it. This could be from your higher self as well. Pile 1 and 2 was quite in-depth and had a lot of information. I was not expecting the reading to be as long as it is today, but that's all right. It tells me that it was a necessary reading, and that is perfectly okay. So with that, we're going to hop to it and find out what is your message from your spirit guides, pile 3. What is your message from your spirit guides, pile 3? What would you like to share with us today? Okay, so we have the first house, we have Taurus, and we have the Sun. Okay, I got a couple of energies coming in already. One is that there's a group of people here who have been fighting depression and having a hard time taking care of themselves, like hygienically and just the basics, the bare necessities is coming through. It's the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. Yeah, man. Like the song is just playing right there. It's really loud. So there's some bare necessities here that have been really a struggle for you to take care of. It does feel outwardly, so this could be like, and please, we're not on here to be like, ew, how disgusting that they can't even, get up and brush their hair, or their teeth, or whatever. Look, until somebody has dealt with severe depression that has left them bedridden, or anxiety that has left them bedridden, or some sort of, emotional trauma or overwhelm that has left you bedridden where you cannot get up and just take care of your simple needs, like, we don't have room to say anything about another person. I just want to point that out here, because I feel like that's something that maybe you just need to hear that, pile 3. Maybe you've been really hard on yourself, like, geez, I can't even get up and get a shower in, like, what the heck is my problem? That's not, you don't need to hear that from yourself, especially, like, you don't need to hear that, right? And please don't think that that is like a terrible thing, like, that you need to judge yourself for, Now, getting up and doing these things, especially with Taurus here, we're talking about self-care, simple self-care actions that can make all the difference, okay? Like getting up first thing and making your bed. I know this can be a challenge. Getting up first thing and making your favorite cup of hot beverage. Getting up and, going into the shower right away to wake up. Maybe take a cold shower. Sometimes cold showers have been known to help with depression, okay? Again, you might not have depression. There might be something else there could be a physical pain here. But what I see here is there's something that it feels overwhelming that's keeping you from taking care of your physical body right now, your appearance, how you're seen outwardly. And that could be maybe you're not focusing on your health. Like maybe you're eating a lot of junk food all of a sudden. You're stress eating or you're binge eating to try to cover up some emotions that you don't want to feel, or on the other side of that, and please, this is a trigger warning, I just want to say going into it, I'm not going to focus a lot on this, but just on the other side is that maybe you're fighting with anorexia or bulimia or something like that, and it's something that you thought that you had overcome, but that it is coming back, and you're like beating yourself up for it coming back. And situations like this are ongoing. Like, they're going to be things that come up throughout our entire lives, okay? And it's like, maybe AA has it right in looking at it as a disease. Maybe they do, right? Like, But I think that instead of figuring out all of that, it's just acknowledging that there are going to be days when it's hard. And that's okay. That's okay. On the hard days, the last thing that we should be doing is judging ourselves so harshly or trying to hold ourselves up to some standard that we think every other person is upholding, right? And it doesn't have to be a shower. Like it might just be, again, it could just be taking care of your physical body. It could be eating healthy or working out or, you know, just finding fun things to do even. But I just feel like your physical appearance is taking a hit right now. And there's a lot of emotional baggage that's coming with that your spirit guides will definitely see if we unpack that throughout the reading as well. But they want you to know that nobody's mad. Okay, nobody is mad at you. Nobody is up in the spiritual realm saying, how dare you, pile 3. No one is ever gonna approach you like that in the spiritual realm. Okay, like that's just not how it works. They're all very kind and understanding and compassionate and encouraging. They want you to find the courage and the motivation to do what's going to make you feel better. Maybe you need to take a bath, okay? Instead of getting in the shower, maybe you need to take a bath, and that's okay, right? Like, or maybe you just need to go somewhere and put your feet in some water. There's something about water here. It doesn't have to be taking a bath or a shower. That's just the first initial energy that came in really strongly. But maybe water is really healing for you right now. Maybe you're not drinking enough water. Maybe this week you just had a really stressful week and you kept reaching for sugary drinks, or, you know, maybe you drank too much coffee, or maybe you drank too much caffeine, or maybe you just reached for the energy drinks to keep going or something like that. You need water in your system. Water feels really healing for you right now, okay? There's something about water that you need in your system or around you or on your body or something. Washing your hair, you know, our hair, like I have dreadlocks, right? And so I have to wash my hair regularly because spiritually I get overwhelmed if I don't. Like I feel really bad if I don't wash my hair at least once or twice a week. And that I've had a lot of people tell me that's a lot for when you have dreadlocks, but I have to, like, I have to wash my hair because spiritually I get overwhelmed. Like I absorb so much spiritually, even protecting myself. I'm just absorbing a lot of stuff and I need to rinse it out. I need to get it off my body and I need to get it out of my hair. And so maybe you need to wash your hair, and maybe you haven't washed your hair in a while. I know a lot of people who will go like months without washing their hair. Maybe that's something you can reevaluate for yourself. Maybe you don't need to go a month without washing your hair. Maybe you can wash your hair, you know, once every 2 weeks instead, or find a new way to feel like you're cleansing yourself, right? Like maybe a spray and shampoo or something like that. Okay. So there's like something here that has been taking a toll on you, and they want you to focus back on self-care. They want you to focus back on self-love. It's important for you to focus back on self-love because that's when you're at your best and putting your best foot forward. It's also when people are like, hey, this is a real leader in my life. Like they can look up to you. They trust you. It's not because you smell good, you look good and all those things, although that does help, right? It's because that's when you're feeling your best. That's when you feel really good about yourself, is when you're taking care of yourself. And so, you know, when it's involved with depression, anxiety, overwhelm, even agoraphobia is coming in here, an eating disorder, whatever it is, okay? There's this energy that's saying, these are things that are going to naturally pop up just because life is life, right? And so instead of trying to blame yourself for having to deal with these, rather, what can you focus on and do right now that can help maybe bring you back to yourself? Can you do a breath work practice? Can you do a quick meditation? Can you do a grounding practice? Can you go and take a quick shower? Maybe you don't need to wash your hair, but washing your body, you'll feel better. You know, brushing your teeth is really grounding. Can you do something that'll bring you into this present moment? And that's what it feels like. It's like you're a natural born leader. I feel like you help a lot of people, pile 3. You help a lot of people. But also in helping a lot of people comes with that you're gonna absorb a lot. You're going to absorb a lot. And it's not like you're trying to. It's just, that's just kind of how it is. It's like you're helping people and they're shedding their energy and you're a part of helping them shed that energy. And so it's like residual blowback, if you will. It's like spiritual residual blowback. And it's okay for you to really, even if you need to take time for yourself, take that time for yourself. Like, don't feel guilty about taking that time for yourself either. You know, it feels like there's people here who maybe make you feel guilty, or they made you feel bad about, you know, like if you're somebody who likes to conserve water. You know, actually, who is it? Ashton Kutcher and, is it Ashton Kutcher? Yeah, Ashton Kutcher and Mila, what's her name? Mila Jovovich, is that her name? Is that the right name? No, I don't know. Who's the girl that he's married to? The girl that played with him and was his girlfriend on that 70s show. She was also the voice of Meg and Family Guy. You guys know who I'm talking about. If you would let the other pile threes know down below in the comments, that really does help me out when you guys do that. I really appreciate that. But anyways, they're actually a real couple in real life. But they've been really vocal about how they don't take showers every day to help conserve water. And they're like really vocal about that. And so I feel like there's just, maybe you need to see other people who don't take showers every day. I live in an RV. I can't shower every day because, one, I have to get propane on a regular basis. Like, I don't just have hot water just for hot water. Like, I actually have to go and fill up propane. And two, because, you know, using water, I have to pay for water where I'm at. And so that's like things like you have to be really conservative of how you use your water. And so I can take a shower regularly, but I might not be able to take a shower like every day because of something like that, right? So there are people out there who just think that's absolutely disgusting, and I can appreciate that. But also I can appreciate the fact that for some people it's just not, you know, either it's just not on their minds, or it's just not, you know, logical because of certain situations. And realizing that there's no right or wrong, there's only what's right or wrong for you, and you have to be comfortable with where you're coming from and not try to compare yourself to others who are very judgmental of that, because they're just trying to feel like they need to be right and somebody needs to be wrong. And no one's really right or wrong. You just have to find what's right or wrong for yourself. But let's dig a little bit more into this, because I feel like there's more to this situation than just a bath. Okay. So your message from your spirit guides, there's like trouble integrating something here. There's trouble letting go of something, or trouble integrating something, a really heavy energy. It feels like you're trying to compensate for the space that this is requiring to be let go of. So if this is a really harmful or hurtful energy that you're trying to let go of from the past, it's almost like it hurts to let go of because you've identified with it for so long. And because it's become like a part of you, you know, it's like letting it go requires too much space. And that space feels, like it just feels gross when you're not ready for it, or when you're struggling to step into that. It doesn't feel good. It feels uncomfortable. Okay. Because you've had this identity that has taken up that space. And so it's been full, right? Like you've been filled with this identity. It doesn't mean that it's brought you good luck or anything like that, but it's been full. A part of you has been full with this identity or this belief or this pattern that's coming up. And it's like now your spirit is asking to make space, but every time you're ready to make space, yeah, okay, hold on. My nose is itching like crazy all of a sudden on the right side. So this is like the right message. They say, you know what this is. It's like every time you're trying to make space, or every time you're trying to heal this aspect of yourself, something arises that's like physically making you focus on other things that make you feel bad about yourself. So your eating, your habits, the way you talk, what you're consuming, what you're watching, maybe endlessly scrolling on your phone or playing a game or something like that. Like there's something else that distracts you from actually letting this go, or that has been distracting you from letting you go, and it comes up every time. So I feel like this is something that you've tried to heal from many times, but it's almost like whatever the distraction is that's over here becomes so big each time. Okay. And it doesn't have to be the same distraction. It could be the same distraction every time. Like suddenly you get super depressed and all you can do is focus and try to be as present as you can with the depression. But it's like, oh, this is just something, and then you might take medicine for the depression, which kind of eases the depression, but also makes you feel kind of like out of sync with yourself. And so there's this feeling of like disconnect. It's like every time this comes up, I can't be present with it, because if I am, like, I don't want to swing the other way and just lose myself to this depression that's coming up, which is understandable. But is there a way for you to find presence instead of focusing so much on what is happening, you know, with the depression itself or with the anxiety itself, which is, please understand, I know what I'm saying is way easier said than done. I deal with depression myself. It's something I've dealt with my whole life. It's not easy, but you know, it's like that. Is there a routine that maybe you can find where it's not about being motivated to do it? It's that this is a part of my routine. Like, I have to do this. Sometimes making something you have to do helps us keep showing up for that. Like, oh, I have to do a 10-minute workout no matter what every day. And so when that feeling hits, can you be like, okay, I have to go do this 10-minute workout. Like, I don't have a choice. Like, don't give yourself a choice. Sometimes doing it that way can help us overcome those feelings of overwhelmed that are coming in. And that's what they're saying. Like, is there something that you can make mandatory for yourself, that when that feeling arises and the distraction starts rising up, whether that's medicine, sleeping pills, that could be, you know, eating, that could be what you're drinking, that could be what you're consuming, that could be, you know, whatever it is that the distraction turns into, is there something that you can just say, okay, I need to do this. Like, I need to journal, right? I need to learn in my book right now, or I need to read this book right now that I'm reading, or I need to draw, or I need to color, or I need to create, or I need to take a walk outside. Like, is there something that you can make mandatory that when this arises, that you can shift your focus onto putting your mind to work, doing something else, so that it's like loosening the knots when you're focusing on things that are actually beneficial for you. So like, instead of getting lost in a game that just lets you forget reality, right? Maybe getting lost in creation, like painting or something like that, will help you work through whatever this is. That's what they want you to do, is like coming back to some sort of present activity to help you work through whatever it is that you're going through. Okay. That's what it feels like right now. Yeah. Cause there's just a really, like, there's this feeling of spiritual disconnection with the Lover in reverse. Okay. And like, this could be somebody that maybe there's depression or anxiety because there's been somebody that's cheated on you in the past, or somebody that's hurt you in the past, or someone that's put you in a very awkward third-party situation. But also, I'm getting just like spiritual disconnect. Like, I'm very disconnected from myself. I'm very disconnected from my journey. I'm very disconnected from what's expected of me, or what I'm expecting of myself. You know, rather than focusing on what's being expected of you from others, it's important for us to uphold promises to ourselves from what we expect from ourselves. And that's actually how we really connect with not only our higher selves, but our inner selves as well. And our inner child is upholding those promises. Like, I promise to walk every day. Are you going to walk every day? Probably not. Right? But say you walk 5 to 6 days a week. Like, that's something that is really promising for you to reconnect with your higher self and reconnect with your inner child, because they recognize that, you know what, we're not a robot. We're not going to be able to do it every day. But if you've made the promise to go every day, and it helps you to show up most days, like, that's something that helps that to unwind and release its hold on you, because there's something here that's emotionally holding you down. And some of you have likened this to spiritual warfare, which is fine if that's what you want to call it, but it's actually really internal. This is something that's really internal, that's coming from a wound, and the wound keeps getting triggered through something, through healing that you're doing, or through chanting or meditation that you're doing, or through, you know, some sort of spiritual work that you're doing. It's becoming triggered, and then all of a sudden you go through this very, very melancholic energy, or very sorrowful energy, and it's like suddenly disconnected. Yeah, you lose yourself. Okay. And then you start doing things that you feel pressured to do. And then all of a sudden you feel really negative and you haven't realized that you're self-sabotaging with this. Okay, yeah. So they're being very clear about this energy. It's a very clear energy coming in. It's whatever this is it gets you lost in your emotions and your thoughts, and that forces you to stop taking care of yourself. Because whatever is happening emotionally and mentally outweighs the desire to take care of oneself. And that's understandable, okay? Like, I get that. And then there's no judgment here. There's no, like, how could you not take care of yourself? I feel like this is superhuman of us. And this is something that's happened to many of us on the journey. It's not just you. It's definitely something that's common. So you're not alone. Okay, but there's something here where it's like you get to make a choice with the Lover card saying, I get to choose. Do I go through what distracts me from feeling this energy, or do I step into this uncomfortable place of actually feeling it and being present with it while it's there? And I get, like, if you need to take medicine for, you know, something that is super overwhelming, or I get that you might need to have assistance with certain things or whatever that is, that's not what they're trying to get you away from. What they're trying to help you get away from is, like, it feels like a crutch, whatever this is. It feels like a crutch. Like, oh, I can't face myself, so I have to rely on this. Like, I can't face myself, so I'm going to game for 24 hours straight, right? Or I can't face myself, so I'm going to watch movies until 4 o'clock in the morning when I have to wake up at 6, right? Like, that's what this feels like. It's just really unhealthy patterns is coming through, where, like, when you're trying to heal from this, or you're trying to face this part of yourself, it triggers some unhealthy reaction to this healing. Yeah, okay. So the Magician in the reverse, the 6 of coins. Yeah. Oh, yep. Okay. Excessive caution. That's why this is eliciting a lot of excessive caution within the emotional ego. And it's like your emotional ego has convinced you somewhere along the way. Okay, not a bad thing. This is no pointing the fingers or saying shame on you. That's not what this is. This is just we're coming into awareness of it. That's why it's coming through in the reading today. With the Magician in the reverse, it's like somewhere along the way, your emotional ego convinced you that this is self-love, or that this is self-compassion, or that this is self-care. And it's really, truly distracting. Okay, it's something that, like, would you miss it if it weren't a part of your life? I feel like mostly it would be no. You would only miss it when the trigger is present. That's the only time that you would miss it. But like on a normal month where you don't have to worry about the trigger, where you're good and you're really connected with yourself and you're doing what matters to you and you're really working on yourself, like, you don't even think about it twice, right? Like, you're not endlessly scrolling on your phone, or you're not watching movies until 5 o'clock in the morning, or you're not, you know, like, or maybe you do on the weekends or whatever like that, but it's different. It's like this happens when it's like absolutely the worst possible time for you. It feels like it makes you feel lethargic, and it makes you feel exhausted, and it makes you feel disconnected. Keeps coming through. It's disconnection. And it's because your emotional ego is very cautious of the future. It doesn't trust that things are going to work out for you in the future because they haven't worked out for you in the past. And so the emotional ego, and I really want to reframe that too, because we always think that the emotional ego is terrible, but the emotional ego derives from our wounded inner child. Okay, and so our inner child, like, think about this. You're a child, and every time a child will always choose attachment over authenticity. Like, this is something that's very true. No matter what situation we're in, we're always going to choose attachment over authenticity. But instead of seeing it like, oh, you know, like, why couldn't I just be authentic? Or like, why do I have to go through this? We have to really honor the fact that our inner child was incredibly intelligent. We were like 5 years old and realizing that we needed to start reading a room so that we could save ourselves from crazy patterns of adults who were emotionally immature, or emotionally unavailable, or emotionally dependent on us as children. We're 5 years old and we're learning how to do things that we shouldn't be learning until we were much, much older, right? how incredibly intelligent was your inner child? And I feel like there's something about honoring that part of yourself. You know, like if it is tied to depression, maybe it's just honoring how smart your inner child was to help you find a way to express this, but maybe not in a very clear way. Like it may be manifested as depression instead of a physical truth. So what does that bring? Or maybe it manifested as anxiety instead of a physical ability to defend oneself, right? And so it's just looking at your inner child and honoring, like, you were so brave and you were so smart to figure out these things that turned into all this chaos when I grew up. And it's not, again, it's not pointing fingers and it's not trying to make them feel bad. It's just looking at them and saying, like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you had to go through all this. I'm sorry you had to carry this. And I'm sorry as an adult that when these emotions and this overwhelm arise, I'm sorry there's been so many times that I've ignored you and the signals that you're sending me, like, hey, this is a trigger. Hey, this is something that we don't like this. We don't like this. You know, like, I'm trying to tell you something, but you can't hear me because you keep distracting yourself. Like, hey, I'm here. Why don't you see me? Right. And it's not a bad thing. Like, it's not to make yourself feel bad. It's not to make your inner child feel bad. It's just recognizing that we've labeled it as something, i.e., I'm going to stick with depression just to make it simple, but whatever the situation is, right? We've labeled it as depression to make it easier to digest rather than looking at the root of the cause, which is, what is this? What does this come from? And it's not that we need to remember the memories that came from. It's just recognizing, how can we honor ourselves to make space for this to move through us? And sometimes that's just saying, hey, I forgive myself. I let myself have space and I stop relying on these addictions or these distractions that keep me from healing myself, because it's like we're getting tricked every time with the magician in the reverse, right? This is something that's tricking us every time it comes up. Like, I'm fearful of what's coming for me in the future. We see that the emotional ego is too. So that's the emotional ego pushing on us with the hermit in the reverse, right? Not being able to look at it from a spiritual sense, but seeing it from not even being really in the body, but being controlled by the body. And again, I'm not saying this is going to be something that heals overnight. That's not what we're coming in with this. We're coming in with this as clarification that this is how we end the cycle. There's a cycle here that's at play. And maybe just finding something that you promise yourself to do every day and using that as, if you will, the crutch instead of whatever the distraction is here, because the distraction is keeping you from your journey. So if you get really down in the dumps, pick up a self-help book, right? If you like to read, pick up a self-help book and read a self-help book. And it's like, if you're having trouble focusing, can you listen to an audiobook instead? Can you listen to a positive podcast? Like, make yourself a promise that says, like, when I'm feeling blue, I'm going to listen to my favorite uplifting song. And I'm going to listen to it on repeat until I'm laughing at myself that I can't believe I listened to it 1,000 times in a row. And I'm going to listen to it one more time and I'm going to dance my heart out, right? Like, there's just some sort of promise here that you can make to yourself where you're going to receive benefits in the physical world, regardless of how you're feeling energetically, which is energetic with the depression, the anxiety, the overwhelm. All of that is very energetic. Okay. And it's not, it doesn't make it less real. We're not trying to make it less real. We're just trying to redirect our attention. And that's what they really want you to focus on, because there's something here that keeps popping up, and it's popped up time and time again. And it has created a lot of hurt and pain and even disconnection from your heart chakra too, from loving yourself, right? You pick the heart chakra. It's like, yeah, it's keeping you from loving yourself, from seeing yourself. It's almost like when you go into those distractions, the monkey mind takes over. And when the monkey mind takes over, it's constant judgment, constant belittling, constant hurt, constant pain, constant, blame, shame, all these things, guilting you. Like, I can't believe that we're doing this. And that only makes you want to keep doing whatever you feel is this distraction even more. So say it's like eating sweets, like you get a whole box of chocolates, right? And you're like, I'm just gonna eat one, and you eat one, and then you're like, you know what, I really feel like today is the day that I'm gonna eat two, and then you eat two, and before you know it, you've eaten the whole box. But every time you eat one, like you're on autopilot, but your mind is saying, oh my God, I can't believe that you've eaten another one. You look at you, you're just being like a fat pig right now because you're eating another one. I can't believe that you put another one in your mouth. And instead of, it's like this cycle where you're so tapped out because it's happened so often. It's like the monkey mind is truly in control here. The body is in control and you're checked out somewhere else. But because your body is hearing that all the time, it's just making you feel worse and worse and worse. And so instead, if you eat the whole box of chocolates, instead of beating yourself up, can you be like, you know what? Today just was a hard day for me, right? It was a hard day for me. I'm going to throw away my box and I'm going to try not to buy chocolates next time as a means to make myself feel better. I'm going to, instead, when I feel like this, I'm going to go walk around the block. Right? So it's just like refocusing your energy so that you get return from whatever it is. There's like a dopamine hit to whatever it is that you're focused on. It's bringing dopamine, and that dopamine makes you feel good for like a second, right? It's like shopaholics. If you have alcoholism or any kind of addiction, it's like a dopamine hit right away. But then after that happens, then you feel worse, or you don't feel like you're better. You're like, oh, I just feel worse. Like I feel like, awful. I can't believe I let myself do that. I can't believe that I let this happen. But it's a pattern. It's a cycle. It's not necessarily you letting it happen. That's not really what it is. It's something that's been on autopilot for so long. It just happens. It's like you check out as soon as you get into this emotion. And all they're saying is, can you bring yourself back into the physical? Are you going to do it the first time around? Maybe. Maybe not. And that's okay. But the more that you choose to say and put the intention out there that I'm going to be present in those moments so I don't disconnect from myself, then the opportunities are going to be there for you. And you're going to be able to experience that in the moments that they arise, okay? There's something here that's just really, I feel like I want to get one confirmation, like one clarifier here for you, pile 3. Yeah. Oh, yep. Okay. It has to do with your health. With the 9 of Wands, it has to do with your health. Like I felt like it was the body. There's something here with the body. And so they're confirming that the energy is real. And there's a lot of twists and turns on this journey for you. There's a lot of going back and forth. There's a lot of not being sure of what's right and what's wrong for you, and beating yourself up. And that has to have been the longest horn ever. Like seriously. Yeah, it's like getting your attention. That's what that felt like. It's like we're getting your attention. There's an opportunity for transformation here, but also if it doesn't happen right away, can you accept that? Like, can you be okay with that instead of judging yourself like, oh, I can't believe I didn't get it right the first time. Look, no one does. No one does, We gotta crawl before we walk, right? So it has something to do with your work. Okay, structure, discipline, life, mission, accomplishments, and career. So there's twofold here. This could be something at work that's really stressing you out, that's making you go down this path and feeling like you can't trust in the process. Or this is something where as you begin to heal from this is going to lead you into your path of purpose, okay? So twofold here. Yeah, it's something that's been happening from a very early age with House 4, cultural and family roots, home, peace, and comfort. Okay, and it's something that you're not the only one. Like, I feel like if you were to talk to your parents, this might have been something, if they'd be willing to admit it, this would be something that they themselves have experienced. Excuse me. My goodness. And that, like, you're not alone in this. I feel like whatever it is that you're experiencing, or whatever this feels like to you, it feels very lonely, and you're not alone. Like, you're not the only person that's experiencing this. If you need that reassurance, leave a green heart down below for other pile threes, okay? So like if you see a green heart in the comments, that's just the assurance you're not alone, okay? And if you're the one leaving the green heart, thank you for assuring other pile threes. That really means a lot, okay? Yeah, personal power, strength and determination. Chopping wood is really hard. It's really hard to do. I don't know if you've ever tried it or not, but it's just really hard. Like this, and I feel like that's just this, especially with personal power, this is just a confirmation that it is going to be a challenge. We don't have to look at it like, oh, it feels impossible. But looking at it like a challenge and looking at it like, I can face this challenge. I can do this, right? You will. You'll face it. You'll get there. You have the strength and determination to overcome this. You have to choose for yourself if that's the route you want to take. You have to leave that intention out there. Or you can just let it run on autopilot. Is there a right or wrong? No, you're going to choose what's best for you. And please know that whatever you choose is right for you in this moment. Whether that's continuing down autopilot or choosing something different, it's not for me to say, you better do this, right? That's not what this is. You have to choose what's right for you. Maybe there's further lessons learning, staying on autopilot, but maybe there's a need to just be aware of it right now, and that's okay. Maybe there's lessons for you choosing your willpower, and that's what you need to become conscious of right now, is choosing for yourself, all right? And that's what this truly is. It's just letting yourself know that you have the strength to move forward, whatever direction you're going in. Okay, so we have Walrus here. Remain vigilant about the current situation. Pay attention to the signs and omens and let them dictate your choices. So let the signs lead you right now. So I feel like your spirit guides have definitely been trying to get you messages, and maybe you've been questioning them, or you know what they want you to do, but you kind of been ignoring them. Everybody does. Even I do. Right? Like we all do it. It's just we get stubborn sometimes. It's okay. It's, but let the signs lead you. And if you need confirmation, ask for confirmation. And then we have the Goose with express yourself through rhythm and movement by drumming and dance. Yeah, so dance might be a powerful way for you to cleanse your energy right now, because that came up in the reading itself. We have Panda on the bottom. Create a sacred space for yourself in your home and or place of work. Okay, so that's what we were saying. Like, how can you create space? Because the space itself is what's kind of bringing this trigger to a head. It's when you make that space, it's like, oh my gosh, but how can you do that for yourself? What is that going to take? Can you go and have lunch outside instead of eating in the break room and eating lunch, right? Or eating in the break room? Or can you go outside and spend some time outside? It just really feels like getting in nature is going to be beneficial to you as well with Panda Spirit here. But how can you create a safe space? Again, coming back to this could be work. There's something here at work that you keep going back to, or keep, there's like a habitual belief, like, oh, I have to do this because this is the only way I'm going to be seen, heard, or appreciated, and that's not true, right? Expect powerful change, new moon, eclipse. Yeah, so there's something very, very vital about this change for you. It's going to change the outcome to a lot of things for you. And that autopilot, once it gets shut off, like, you're going to recognize a lot of things that were connected to that. And I feel like you're going to let go. What do you need to release? Waning moon. Yeah. But also know that it's okay to have a period of reflection. You don't need to rush into change, right? And that might sound counterintuitive, but I feel like this is just that reminder that sometimes periods of reflection are equally as powerful as forces of change. Okay. Also, just really quickly, I don't know if I mentioned at the beginning of yours, but you might get some additional messages from the collective message I did at the beginning, which if you're interested, you'll find timestamp down below. And also, if you've been here with all three piles with me, which, wow, thank you so much for those of you that have spent this entire, because this was a long reading. I don't mind them being this long, but that's just a long time to spend with me, and I really appreciate that. Leave a purple heart down below. You're part of my Purple Heart Club, and that really means the world to me. And if you're here for pile 3 alone, I want you to know that you equally mean the world to me, because I'm just honored. I'm here because of you guys, and I hope you know that, okay? Yeah, Beaver Spirit, lay a solid foundation. And part of that is just seeing the cracks in the foundation as they are, right? Like, how do we fix those cracks? How do we make them more solid for ourselves? Something's been faulty for a long time, but it's not your fault. It's just something that's been playing on autopilot for a long time that, you know, when the minute we go into autopilot is when we just basically check out ourselves. And awareness is not an easy journey, but it is very beneficial and rewarding as you go. And if you think about it now, awareness is a real thing, because what are you aware of now that before you weren't aware of? Like self-awareness and awareness of others. There's things that you know now that when you began the journey, you were completely clueless to, right? And now that's shifting, right? Yeah, vampire. Makes you aware that something or someone is draining your life force. So we were very clear about that in the beginning. Whatever this is, this distracting energy, it's really draining. And it's perpetuating the system, this situation, or this pattern. The shadow is depleting others for your psychic survival, chronic complaining, or codependency. With the 4th house, this can point to something you're codependent on. Something that is like, again, that dopamine. It's giving you dopamine and it's making you feel good. That's why chocolate came through, because chocolate has endorphins in it, and that's like a dopamine hit. And so when you eat that, you feel good, right? Endorphins make you feel good. It's like the same feeling you get if you were to go outside and run around the block. I'm not saying you should. You can. That's something you can absolutely do. But, you know, those endorphins are what you're craving. You're craving that feel good. And so whatever it is that is coming up as this addiction or this, you know, and again, when I say addiction, I'm not trying to put a negative light on things you're doing, okay? Because I feel like somebody here is like, oh, why do you have to call it addiction? Like there's this like immediate like, oh, don't call it that, please. That just makes it feel even worse. And it's, again, we're just trying to bring awareness to it, okay? That's all we're trying to do. And sometimes we just have to call it like it is. Whatever it is, it's sucking you dry, okay? It's draining you. And so being aware of that is going to help. But awareness is also being honest with ourselves, right? And it's okay. Like I am somebody who's addicted to food. I love food. I've been fluffy my whole life. And even though I am very active, I've worked out, I've lost weight, I've done the whole Oprah up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. Like I've done that, right? And sometimes it's just like people are like, why don't you eat right? Why don't you do this? But sometimes it was also connected to my depression, where it was like I was beating myself up so bad for the things that I was eating. I was gaining weight so fast. But it wasn't even that I was necessarily eating badly. Like even this last time, I had lost 300 pounds. That sounds absolutely wild. I used to weigh 500 pounds. I don't anymore. But I'd lost 300 pounds. And I gained 200 back after that. And it was because I was beating myself up for just eating. I was eating fruits, I was eating veggies, I was eating really natural foods, like really good foods, but I had gotten it into my head that just eating was bad. Like putting food in my body was somehow bad. Like something switched in my journey along the way. And I honestly don't think that I ever as a kid saw food as nourishment. I saw food as like this evil thing that made you gain weight, and I loved it so much. Like, why should I stop, you know? And somewhere along the way, like being aware of that thought process helped me realize, like, you know, I'm still healing that. I'm learning how to eat balanced diets now. I'm learning how to eat what's healthy for me, and I'm realizing that the less I beat myself up for, then I'm not gaining weight like crazy, because I'm not making myself feel bad. And then when I'm feeling bad, I'm like eating a bunch of sugar, or I'm eating just a bunch, like eating a lot, like eating so much food. And, you know, like that, it's like when I'm like enjoying what I'm eating and present with what I'm eating and realizing this is nourishment and I need to be nourished, because we need the nourishment that comes from our food when it's healthy for us and good for us. And I don't eat out. Like that's not something I eat out maybe once or twice a month. And, you know, it's just not common right now where I'm at. I get a free pizza every week from the office over here. And so I do get a pizza once a week, just as kind of like my little cheat day or whatever. But I cook at home. I fast every other day. I do 24-hour fasts. And so it's like I'm really good about what I put in my body. I take care of my body. But it's like, even though I was eating like this for a long time, there was a part of me that felt like food was evil, right? But that thought process is what was draining me. It was also what was aiding in my gaining weight. It wasn't what I was putting in my body. It was because that thought process was triggering those old response, like I need to just shovel food in, and I would eat like an entire meal in 5 minutes. And I remember once when I was a kid, this had come up. It wasn't something that happened often when I was a kid, because I was usually pretty present when I ate when I was little, but it was something that happened when I started getting into my teenage years. And I remember I left for work and I came back, I was like 16, and I sat down at the dinner table with my dinner, and my mom came up to talk to me, and I ate my dinner in like 5 minutes. And my mom was completely flabbergasted. She's like, Becky, no one is going to steal your food. Why are you eating it so fast? And I had completely no idea that I had eaten it so fast. Like, it was, I just assumed a normal amount of time had passed, you know, like that's how fast I was shoveling it into my mouth. And then now I realized those times when I gained the most weight was when that's how I was eating. I was just shoveling food into my mouth. It wasn't about eating. It was about just trying to put it in. Like, I was trying to fill up and hide from whatever it was that I was getting triggered in. And so I don't know what the memory is. Like, I can't tell you, oh, the memory was because of this, or the memory is because of this. Like, I don't really even know if I want to know the memory. But being aware of my actions and how, when that comes up, I'm just trying to be aware of what's going on around me. Does it still happen? Yeah, it still happens. But also now I've gotten into the habit of, when I eat, I promise myself that every bite I'm going to chew 20 to 30 times before I swallow, before I take another bite, before I take a drink. Like, I have gotten into this habit, and I'm really good at keeping that promise to myself, but sometimes I still falter, right? And so I feel like that's the thing. It's just like, is that an addiction? It's an addiction to food. My addiction came to food, but knowing that and realizing that I can change the way I approach food and how I eat, those are things that are really powerful. And so again, it's like, when I first started, this was like, I don't have a food addiction. I don't have a food addiction. And I was like, I hated that it was called that, but what else is it? I mean, really, like, if I look at it any other way, like, what else is it? What else was it? I was eating to try to fulfill some weird feeling that was going on inside of me. Some depression, some hurt, some anxiety, whatever it was that was coming up, some feeling lonely, disconnected. Anything could trigger it. Anything, right? Breakfast, I could eat a dozen eggs. I could eat a dozen eggs, just boom, like that, you know? Like, now I'm good with 3 eggs. And I know that sounds like a lot. Well, it depends on how they're cooked. I'll eat 3 eggs scrambled, but I eat 2 eggs fried, like over easy, if you will. I don't know, are they fried? Whatever. But that's the thing, you know, like, before I would eat like 6 pieces of bacon, and now I'm good with 2. You know, and it's like changing the way I view myself, and also recognizing that, like, sometimes what I was seeing on my plate and feeling the need to finish everything on my plate, that's not necessarily how it is. Like, I don't have to finish everything on my plate. Is it a waste of food? It depends. I mean, I've got dogs. I don't give them everything, but if I can give them what I have, I will, right? And so that's something to think about here. And I'm sharing this because I feel like whatever it is, like, saying it's an addiction, it feels hurtful. It feels like, oh my gosh, that's not what it is. Like, I can't believe you would call it that. But there, again, being honest with yourself about what it truly is. I'm not saying it is an addiction. I'm just saying, like, don't let the label of what it is, so that we can understand it for ourselves, be what deters you from actually giving it a label. And I know I talk about trying to move away from labels, but sometimes we need labels in order to help us face reality and face the situation for what it is, okay? Yeah, the Fool energy here, fearlessly revealing emotion. Yeah, so exactly, helping people laugh at the absurdity and the hypocrisy. Everything is great. Again, you know, and that's, I feel like, something that has been real about your reading this whole time. It's like feeling like you are alone in what you're going through, and like, if we label it, that's a bad thing. Like, everybody goes through it. You're not alone, and please don't feel like you're alone. Like, I just want you to hear that, you know, like, I've felt alone on my journey many, many times, and I realized when I started talking with clients, it's like I resonate with people because I'm not alone, right? Like, I feel like people, if you're resonating with me, you resonate with me because there's things that we've experienced that are parallel. And that resonate, it's true in our soul. It doesn't matter if our circumstances were completely different or if our situations, there's just something that we took away from it at some point that our souls found resonance in with each other, and that's why we resonate with each other. So please remember, it's like, it's not because we're alone, it's because we isolate ourselves. And part of that comes from the emotional ego saying like, oh, I need to isolate myself. But we don't need to isolate ourselves. We need to remember these are normal things, and sometimes just seeing it as that helps us to start working through it. So we see the shadow is using humor to wound rather than to liberate. Denial of your emotional truth. And this is a very real energy here, that denial of emotional truth coming through. That's what this feels like. It's denying yourself, denying the reality of the situation. Like, I don't do that. I'm not, you know, and it's easy to be that way. It's so easy to be that way. We have Lao Tzu and Sunshine. Be careful with your words. Some can harm yourself. Okay, this is not about how you're talking to other people. It's not about how you're treating yourself. So speak with love and positivity. Allow your words and smile to be your adornments. But it's not about how you're talking to others. It's about how you're talking to yourself. So with Lao Tzu and Sunshine here, really focus on treating yourself with love, treating yourself with kindness. On the bottom, we have Freya and Elskaeld with the number 33. The answer to the question, what is my task, can only be found on the battlefield of life. Only the courageous will discover it. Only the ones who are willing to go outside of their comfort zone will ever know what it is that's truly plaguing us. And it can be something that seems so silly to someone, but it can be absolutely detrimental to another person. So again, I feel like that's also why the Fool card came out on the bottom of the deck from this deck, because the archetype deck, it's this energy where it's like, you know, if people are trying to make you feel bad because what bothers you, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. You know, like people who fat shame. You know, like they're making people feel bad about their weight. Like, oh, I have a right to fat shame you. And it's like as if being overweight is some weird random thing, but it's not. There's so many things that contribute to it. It can be your genes. It can be your family. It could, you know, like how you grew up. It can be backgrounds. It could be what you're going through. It could be depression. It could be thyroid. It could be medical. It could be anything. But everybody's like, oh, you should just eat healthy and work out a ton. But that's not necessarily going to work for everybody, right? The same thing with this. Like if it's some kind of mental issue, it's like, oh, you know, like there's these stigmas around each different thing. And it's like, don't let people's fear or projection of it keep you from honoring what's really going on with yourself. Because the only person who can face the truth in this situation, pile 3, is you. I can present the cards as they come out, but ultimately you're the only one who can face the truth of what's going on with yourself. It's like an alcoholic. They want to say that they're not an alcoholic until they're really ready to face that, right? That's just how it is. Because the only one who can ever make a change, no matter how many people try to tell them, hey, it's bad for your health, this is slowly killing you, like you're not the same person, whatever it is that people on the outside say, will never make a change for those people until they decide to face it themselves. And that's exactly what it feels like here. But also in facing it yourself, please don't isolate yourself. Please don't force yourself into some idealized idea that I'm the only person who's ever experienced this. You're not. And if people are trying to make you feel like you're the only person that's experienced that, look around. Look around. Talk to a doctor. Talk to a therapist. Talk to a friend. Talk to somebody you trust. You're not. I guarantee you they're going to be like, I can resonate with that, even though my situation's different. Even though what I've gone through is different, but I can definitely resonate with those emotions or how you're feeling. I can resonate with that. We got there through different means, but we're not alone. We're not alone. Fear. Everything that you want is on the other side of fear with hyena here. There's this lack in prosperity, and we see here his head is over here, right? And so it's in the head is the lack in prosperity, and it feels like this is completely unattainable. Abundance, or lack in poverty, my apologies, but abundance and prosperity seem completely unattainable, but they're not. It's just about changing how you see the situation. Instead of judging yourself and keeping yourself in a limited mindset, Accepting it is how you free yourself. And that's what this really feels like, is finding a way to free yourself from this situation and free yourself from the weight that it has put on you for a long time. Just because there's a stigma doesn't mean that you have to identify with the stigma. Just because there's people who judge whatever it is that you're going through doesn't mean that you also have to judge whatever it is that you're going through. And, you know, I said this on another pile too. I really don't remember which one because I've been here for a while, guys, but there's another pile that came through. It's like, if somebody that you loved was going through this, would you judge them? So how can you be that loving, compassionate self to you, right? It's like, if I had a friend who was plus size and they were going through all the things that I was going through and they were having a problem with food, like, I wouldn't be sitting there like, well, just eat right and exercise. Especially being a plus size person myself, I'd be like, no, I hear you. I hear you, but what do you need? What do you need that's going to make you feel better? That's what we need to focus on, right? Like, it's easy to look at it if it was someone else and then do those things that you would give as advice to a friend. Do those for yourself and see what happens. Renewal. Yeah. Renewal. You're experiencing renewal and fresh beginnings. Release the past and embrace the opportunities for growth and transformation ahead. We don't necessarily need to remember all of those memories from the past, but knowing that if we work with our inner selves, our inner child, our shadow selves, and our higher selves, we can ask them to release that for us so that we can step into a new version of ourselves, a more aligned version of ourselves. And also approaching it with peace and patience, not trying to rush us to some end, not trying to rush us to some idea of who we're supposed to be, but allowing things to unfold naturally, and that will help you step into this renewal energy. And trust. This was on the bottom of the deck even before I started this reading, which is so interesting. We have trust in yourself and the universe. Have faith in the divine plan and trust that everything is unfolding as it should be. You are in the right place at the right time. You're not meant to be further ahead, otherwise you would be further ahead, right? So just remember, you're where you need to be and you're at the prime place to do the work that you need to for yourself. Okay, with 232. All right, let's see what else we've got going on here. Imprisonment, persecution, and judgment. Okay, so there's a lot of imprisonment. This is also self-imprisonment here too. It's like maybe you've been persecuted by others and you've been judged by others, and that somehow at some point turned into the inner voice that you talk to yourself with. And so yes, maybe you've been unfairly judged. Maybe you've been unfairly labeled. Maybe you've been unfairly treated. And that's not fair, right? That's not fair. You didn't deserve that. But at some point along the way, your spirit guides want you to know that that has become your internal voice. And so focusing on being the positive voice, right? With Lao Tzu and Sunshine, being the positive voice for yourself. Reframing how you see yourself, how you treat yourself. These are very important things for you moving forward, okay? Turkey spirit, give with gratitude and grace. And I feel like this is just a reminder to stay in a state of gratitude. There's something about the number 7 that keeps popping up here. 7 and 5. So you could be 75, you could be 57. You could be born on May 7th, or you could be born on July 5th. Like these are numbers that keep coming up. So these are very powerful energies if something like that is true for you. But also just remembering, like, 7 is this very spiritual number. Also, if we change what it is that we're doing, we're inviting in a spiritual awakening. And then 5 is a very uncomfortable place of change, but it's necessary change. It's change that we'll inevitably go through whether we want to or not. It will either be forced into it or we'll choose it for ourselves. There's no right or wrong to get there. The journey will take us there, okay? So remembering that it is uncomfortable, it's uncomfortable facing this, it's uncomfortable seeing this, but it's a part of the journey, okay? Bring your ideas to life with eel spirit. And part of balancing out your energy right now is really focusing on creativity. So maybe like promising yourself, when I feel depressed, I'm going to spend 5 minutes painting. And then who knows, maybe if you really love painting, all of a sudden 2 or 3 hours have passed and you don't really feel depressed, but you feel really renewed and re-energized, right? So that's just an example here. but trusting your intuition and knowing that it's leading you to where you need to go. Okay. Yeah. And companionship, I feel like this is coming out, and I love that this is the last card. It's just a reminder, you're not alone. You are sharing this journey with billions, literally billions of other people. It would be so weird if each one of us had a billion different emotions and none of us felt the same emotions, but that's not true at all. We have a billion different perspectives, sure, billions of different perspectives, sure, but many of us have experienced very parallel situations or very parallel ideas or very parallel experiences, because we are literally Source incarnate. We're an expression of Source itself. And so there's going to be very resonant things that happen with all of us. And, you know, with it in the shadow here, again, it's like part of your shadow is saying, like, either you don't deserve friendship, companionship, or someone who's on the journey with you, or this could be pointing at, likewise, that maybe you do feel that, but that you've always felt like nobody has gotten you up until this point. And what they're saying is that there are people out there who resonate with you. There's soul tribe out there who resonate with you, and there's soul tribe out there who accepts you. Even if they don't resonate or know exactly what it is that you're going through, they're still accepting of you, and they want to see you succeed. So you're not alone, okay? There's a whole world out there that you've yet to explore, and that is impossible for us to explore within our lifetimes. And so remember, don't minimize yourself in saying, no one gets me, I'm all by myself, or I'm never going to have soul tribe. Don't minimize yourself in that way, because how much of the world have you explored? How far away from home have you really gotten? These are all things to consider, because most of the time we don't really connect with people until we go to the other side of the world, until we see something new, until we experience a different culture, even a different language. Right? So again, it's a whole new world, right? There's something out there that's for you. And 41, we have change. Again, that uncomfortable place of change. It's just how you see yourself. But remember, the more authentic and true you are to yourself, the easier it is for you to call in the people who are authentic and true to you. Okay? So let's take a look at your card. I'm going to read this from the book. We're going to see what it has to say. I love that the butterfly came in for you. Transformation. And it's like you're in the chrysalis right now, right? You're the caterpillar that's completely changing its body. And if I'm not mistaken, when the caterpillar creates the chrysalis, the caterpillar turns into a complete glob of jelly. Like it just loses its entire form. I mean, imagine what it's going through, right? It's this caterpillar, it's cute, it's fluffy, it's fuzzy, it walks with all these legs and like this. And then when it turns into the butterfly, it turns into a big blob of gel. And then it turns into this beautiful thing that many of us admire and love and appreciate. Angel, that's enough. There's a dog barking outside that she heard. So, you know, the transformation that you're going through, the change is uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. It's not fun. Angel confirming this reading here. She has to have a voice today with dog coming in as well. She hears everything, and she's getting much better at not reacting to everything. Peace, patience, and persistence. You know, and if you've ever heard the story about Angel, she's my pit bull mix. And yes, she does. She has pit bull, Rottweiler, and Boxer in her. So she's got a lot of the forbidden breeds, if you will. She's such a love. She's the goofiest dog I've ever owned in my life, as I'm looking for butterfly here. And she's been leash reactive. So on walks, when we see dogs, she's incredibly reactive. And or she has been. And I've had her since 2021. And just now, in the last year, I've been able to walk her. She listens when I say heel. She listens when I say sit. She listens when I say stay. She listens when I say come on the leash. On the leash, right? As long as she's on the leash. But it has taken a lot of peace, patience, and persistence with her to get her to this point. And I've told people before, because I use tools. I use a prong collar and I use an e-collar. And I learned how to use them so that they were effective and not just abusive, right? Because I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, they're abusive, you're abusing your dog. But I've also told people that it is my job to protect her because she's part of forbidden breeds. And wherever I travel a lot, and so I go to different places. So my job is to ensure that she's in a state where if anything were to happen, I can protect her. And part of protecting her is making sure she's not pulling me on the leash, because she's incredibly strong. She can pull me off my feet. She can pull anybody off their feet because she's so strong. She's so muscular. Also the lunging, she was lunging on the leash and stuff like that. And so these are things that we've gone through, and the barking and the screaming, she used to scream on the leash. It sounded like I was killing her, like just wild, but it's just something she did. And we've gotten past all of that, and now every once in a while we're still a little reactive when we see other dogs walking, but we've gone from leash lunging to now backing into my leg and sticking with me in a heel position while maybe the hair is up on my back, or while I'm maybe kind of doing these little barks that she's doing right here that you've heard. And so I feel like it's really just that reminder that, you know, people are judging. Like, no matter what, people are going to judge you for you taking care of you, or you taking care of your own, right? Like with her, people have definitely been unkind about the fact that I've used a prong collar on her and an e-collar. But at the end of the day, it's like she knows how to get out of a leash when it's on just a collar. She knows how to get out of a halter. She knows how to escape from a kennel. She knows how to escape from a home. She knows how to, she's too smart for her own good, and she's learned all these ways of getting herself out of restrictive situations. And the only thing that's ever worked is the prong collar, and the fact that I've gone from having a pulling dog to anybody can walk her on the leash and she will stay right next to them speaks volumes to the tools that we have. So not everybody's going to agree with the tools and the methods that you use, but it doesn't mean that they're less effective. And I feel like that's really powerful to remind you of. Also, the change itself, people might be trying to tell you, oh, you should change really quickly. Like, you should have been able to do that within a year. But you know, everybody's gonna, that's why I said it's not up to me to tell you you have to do this right now. There might be something that you still need to learn by staying present with the situation as it's unfolding, okay? Look at this, undergoing great change and transformation. It says the energy of the butterfly is with us during periods of transition. Since air is the element of the heart, and you chose the heart chakra. Wow. Wow, what a synchronicity. The change usually involves the relationships, or if you love your job, perhaps your career. And I feel like this is also relationship with yourself. Since transition is accompanied by some amount of discomfort, be extra patient and kind during this time, especially if the butterfly is you. Let solid friends and activities support you like a cocoon, committing to one daily routine. Oh my gosh, wasn't I saying that this whole time? Like making one promise to yourself for every day. A meal, practice, or prayer done at the same place and time will do wonders for lifting a butterfly's spirit. What a synchronicity. Thank you so much, Source. Thank you, angels. Thank you, guides that came in today. Just thank you. When in balance, you're cheerful and graceful. When out of balance, you tend to be fragile and frustrated. To bring into balance is a daily routine. Oh my gosh, I love that synchronicity for you, right? So peace, patience, and persistence goes hand in hand. I even have that written on my whiteboard on my where I write down my groceries at on my fridge. Whenever I need something new, I put it on the dry erase board, but on the bottom of it I have peace, patience, and persistence. It's just a daily reminder. I feel like giving ourselves the space to show up in a peaceful way, being persistent, and just remembering that patience gets us so much further than being unkind, whether that's to ourselves or even others, right? It's just remembering, and don't let people's judgment of healing practices, tools, ideas, belief systems, you know, deter you from taking care of yourself and showing up for yourself, because it's different for everybody. Like what works for me might not work for you, and that's okay. Like that doesn't make you weird. That doesn't make me weird. That just makes us different from each other, and that's fine. Like that's a perfect example of you need to do your research and find what aligns with you, right? And try different things, right? What's that song from, I think Shakira sings it, Try Anything. It's from Zootopia, the first movie. She did this song for there. It's Try Everything. And the song is just, it's so real, right? It's like, try everything. Don't hold back. Like, try everything and find what works for you. Some things you're never going to pick up again, and some things you're going to be so drawn to you can't help but love them and love them and love them. And those are things that are important to you, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that I have to love them. It doesn't mean that everybody else has to love them. Just like you don't have to love what I do or the things that I'm into. That's fine. I just give examples. So that way then you know what we're talking about. Like, have a direction. If I'm talking about yoga, maybe you need calisthenics or Tai Chi or walking or, you know, one daily routine that you focus on every day. Whatever it is, it's just saying we need to focus on the body, right? That's what it is. So I feel like that's something that's really powerful for you, is to find that daily routine, stick to it, and keep the promise to yourself. It needs to be a routine so that you feel more aligned with yourself. That's how you feel good about yourself. And that's how, when you feel good about yourself, people rely on you and trust you, and you're not so drained from this imprisonment of self, the mind that's coming through here. Wow. All right, pile 3. I'm going to leave it here. I love you so much, and thank you for hanging out with me on this reading. I'm truly honored to be able to do this for you today. I love these types of readings, if you can't tell. But with that, I do want you to say, if this was your reading, leave the butterfly emoji down below and just say, even though change might be uncomfortable, it is necessary, and I choose to lean into the discomfort of change, knowing that it's bringing me closer and closer to my blessings. And if it resonated with you, it means so much to me if you're to like, comment, and subscribe below. And if you're interested in supporting the channel further, you'll find everything you need in the description box. With that being said, I'd like to take a moment to thank your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, my spirit guides, for making an appearance to give us this reading today. And until next time, pile number 3, here's a big energetic hug for you. I love you so much. Stay human. Bye.